Hello everyone, welcome to Waxies. Give us a big cheer. And a big shout to everyone at home watching live on our YouTube page or on EJ's Facebook page. Before we get into all the crack in the chat with our special guests here, don't forget tonight, the big reason we're doing all this is for a good friend, Sean Brown. He's actually down here live in the front row, giving me plenty of abuse already. And we just want, you'll see the link will pop up during the stream. It's idonate.ie together for Sean. So this, for anyone that may not know, Sean, great friend of ours, and last year was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, and all of his friends, we've gathered together to help him and his family. And he has said to me, now don't go on about it, but anyways, you'll see the link, donate what you can, and I said tonight is all about a great bit of fun and a bit of GA and crack and that. So remember, any of the audience, we're going to get your questions at half time, and we'll ask the lads in the second half some of the questions, as long as they're appropriate, okay? The lads are a bit nervous of that. And people online as well, you can drop us a comment, and we'll filter some of those as well, and see can we ask any in the second half. So, without further ado, let's give a big official welcome to our three amazing guests who came down here of their own time. We're so glad and so lucky to have them here. What a panel we have for a show like this. Please give it up for Damien Comer, Eamonn O'Hara, and Keith Higgins. So lads, well, some of you know Sligo better than others. Keith, the former student here. Eamonn, you will know it inside out. And Damien, you've been down here for a rag week, you told me. Do you have many memories of that now?
Not too many, no.
Yeah, that's the first non-GA question now, okay? Okay, we're going to go straight into it, okay? The first topic, red cards, okay? So, I think it was 2017, Pearse Stadium. I was up in the stand, and there's two men on this panel were marking each other. And next thing, something happened, and everyone in the stand seeing Keith Higgins get a red card. And we're like, Jesus, that man never gets a red card. I wonder what happened there. So we said, tonight's the night now to reveal all. Eamonn O'Hara sitting in the middle there like the cat laughing. Your turn's coming in.
It's not about me.
So who wants to go first? Who started it first, lads? Where did it all end in? Or how did it all get to where it ended, I should say?
Oh, I was provoked.
Was it verbals? Was there a bit of niggling going on? Like, obviously, Damien would be gentle enough to giant, I'd say.
No, he just kept scoring points, and I wasn't too happy with it, you know. And,
so is that your normal thing? So when someone scored, there's one way to stop it?
Yeah, it was one of them moments, wasn't it? Brain fart, I think, was called in the press afterwards, but I'm not sure. That could be my only red card from Mayo, I think, maybe.
Was it? God, I was doing research. I read about another one somewhere, but I might be wrong on that.
No.
To be fair, he probably was provoked as well.
Oh, hold on. Well,
so I wasn't expecting that admission now.
Yeah. This is the real answers we want now. So what do you think you might have been doing now?
Well, no.
You can just even a gist of it, like, it'd be great.
It was either let him run away for the kick out and have to follow him, or hold on to him.
Right, okay.
And as I was holding on, my recollection of it anyways, as I was holding on to him, Joe McQuillan gave me a bollocking for holding on to him. And as he did that, the rest happened while he was giving out to me.
It was one of them ones when you're looking at the ref and he's 2 yards away from you and you still do it, and as soon as you do it, you're like, oh, what? But
bad timing.
Bad timing, all right, yeah.
And Damien, do you think was there many other times you provoked lads over the years when they might have got a card or free? No. Okay, straight no. We're going to move on to the next man. Now, by the way, Eamonn Mulligan, who's a regular guest on this show, on the Edge Sports podcast, didn't even mention that yet, but Emmeline's playing a challenge match this evening out in St. Mary's. But he's
over 40s, is it?
Well, you know he's not here anyway. Although that won't stop Eamonn in the second half. So Eamonn has got special dispensation. He was begging the last week, the manager, Mark Brennan, to let him off early. So he'll be in for the second half. So there's another story. Now, it's our middleman here, Eamonn. You were involved in a Sligo Leitrim game a number of years ago. I've got great resources of your old teammates all week, by the way. A lot of them said, no, we can't tell you everything. But this one, you playing against Leitrim, and you and Eamonn both got sent off in the same game.
Yeah, it was just one of those really, really bad days for us. Leitrim came down, I think it was 11, was it?
So I was looking at a lot of dates this week, but sounds right.
And we just were really, really poor, and it was just one of those ones where I had already got a yellow card and things weren't going wrong. And I suppose I've always kind of said, if we try and get yourselves back into a game here, cause a little bit of a row or cause some sort
Philly
of...
Philly McMahon said that recently about a game,
did he?
Yeah, he said he would have stirred.
Didn't work. I jumped on top of Eamonn, and Eamonn did absolutely nothing, and we both got a straight red card, but it made no difference. It was just one of those ones, yeah.
You directly with Eamonn? I didn't realise that was exactly what happened.
Myself and Eamonn. Yeah, Eamonn actually, poor Eamonn was running away, and I just come up on his back, and the two of us fell to ground, and I kind of was just holding on to him. He was trying to get up, and the referee at that stage just sort of said 2 reds. And
you had yellows before that?
I had a yellow, but it was 2 straights from the both.
Should have made up. He's not here.
I know, I was actually going to say that, but I have more stuff on Eamonn, so don't
So when Eamonn comes in the second half, we're going to ask him to tell his part of that story, okay? So it'd be gas to see. He'll probably think that you're going to lay it into him now in the first
I'll be
half.
honest. The boys started off way too honest, so I have to try and keep that sort of confessional mode going for the time being anyway.
And Eamonn, another funny red card you got once upon a time. It was a mistaken identity. You and Sean Davey, one of you, not you, was the one that did the incident.
So this is leading to another team that I can feel that's coming now, Brendan, to be quite honest with you. Go and ask the question, you might as well.
Why do you think that the linesman mixed you up with Sean Davey? Any reason?
What is it?
Who said spray tan? Tom Clark is he's very brave down the back.
No, Tommy, you're very good, yeah. Typical Coleraine man, big all talk behind 40 people. It actually was against Westmeath in 08, and it was just Markievicz Park was absolutely heaving. It was the qualifiers. Westmeath had come up, and we had obviously, it was 06. We were actually building a team. That was it was 06. And we were obviously building a really good team at the time, obviously to go on to win in 07. But Davey body checked a guy, and it was a straight red. It was a Limerick referee was a guy called Mike Ryan was his name, and Mike Ryan got a call in from the linesman and said it's his words. I got a red card. Let's put it that way. It was a mistaken identity, but what transpired was RT was at the game. We went down, had to go down to the dressing room at the time. You weren't allowed into the on the pitch, so you weren't allowed even in the dressing room. And went down, and RT were there, and they called me over and said, "Look, it wasn't even yourself." And I said, "Oh, I know it wasn't me, but." Everybody was looking at it, and the referee started to realise when they came in then at the end of the game that there was a bit of mistaken identity. And in fairness to Mike Ryan, he rings me up, the referee rings me up on the Tuesday, and he apologised. He said, "Listen, I got word from the linesman, and the linesman described it as the guy with the tan." So, well, that's his story anyway. He didn't identify me with a number. It was the guy with the tan.
And what is it about the weather in Tourlestrand? What's going on out there?
Hey,
Lanzarote, never mind. We're all going to
Lanzarote, as everyone call it, Tourlestrand, and there's no beach or anything like that. It's I've been
just a very outdoor man. Is that it?
Listen, it is. When you've got it, you might as well flaunt it.
There you go. Why not?
So, I have it. I've carried it all my life, and it is.
The lads are catching up there slowly.
Yeah, slowly.
Keith's on the farmer one at the moment.
A bit to go yet, I think.
So look at in various levels, you've all had established long careers, and over the time, can you think of one of the craziest, funniest moments happened? Take it up, anyone that wants there. Who was the crack merchant in your squad? Mikey Conroy comes to mind there, Keith, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Mickey C is kind of well known for his stories, whether they're true or not. More so not true, but Barry Moore as well. So I suppose it's probably like a lot of the boys here. There's a lot of stories you can't actually tell.
Yeah, and we are live to the world now potentially as well.
I think it's something, all right. Yeah, but the two. But I think every dressing room has them, and you need them because, you're going so long and so often, and everything is so serious most of the time. You just need someone that's going to unleash the valve or release the valve and have that bit of crack. And even, you go away for a training weekend or a week away, and that's when the crack really comes out because everything's just built up. But
I think that is the key. What Keith is saying, it's different fellas, different personalities. When they get nervous, they get chirpy and they get a little bit loud. With us, it was Stephen Cohen. If Stephen Cohen was chirpy before a game, you knew he was going to do well. Okay. But Stephen generally was always a bit of a messer anyway. But if he was quiet, then you'd be as well off just taking him off before he even went out in the field. But then, as Keith said there, it's when you get lads away and you get them into a scenario, having a few drinks and everything else. Like we had Johnny Davey from St. Mary's. Johnny was a great character, but Johnny wouldn't say a word from one day of the year to the next. But if we got him out on a night out, we just couldn't shut him up. He was a real character. Yeah. So, but like that, there's jokers everywhere, and nobody was safe. I think I was probably one of the worst ones myself.
Yeah, I got that vibe of a lot of ex-teammates.
Well, anyone that came in with a shirt and tie went away with a shirt with one sleeve missing or a half a tie. We were always sort of up to something.
Yeah, Tom Clark is smiling on that. We made a fortune out of it.
Yeah, he did. He had a fortune. But often the lads would come in from the bank, wherever they'd be working, and togging back on, they'd pull up the shirt and there'd be a sleeve cut off it, or there'd be buttons would be all cut out of it, whatever it might be. But it's just fun. It's just harmless fun.
Yeah. And Damien, who's the messer in the Galway squad at the moment?
There's been a few down through the years. Different ones have come and went, and maybe That's the reason they've come and went.
Okay. They live both lives. You're not going to throw them under the bus anyways, no.
Definitely not. But like probably Conroy comes across as
Really?
a very sensible character, but he's probably the biggest messer that we have and the eldest in the panel. So
Okay.
yeah,
It seems like the older statesmen seem to go, we don't care, we'll just go mad now and that's it. Like.
yeah, it's like behind closed doors slagging.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it must be important too, I suppose, on a bad day. You need that person to go, right, break the ice here, like, because I'm sure there's, a tough day in the dressing room, you want them guys there to lighten the mood.
Absolutely, yeah. we've had a good few of them as well, so you need something that's gonna lift the mood, and it's just it takes a while for it to get going, but once it picks up, then you kind of forget about everything else that's gone on, and you just realise this.
But there's a uniqueness. There's a uniqueness to like going on a bus and travelling to games, and they can be quite boring at times, and you could be playing cards. Some fellas like sitting on their own. Some fellas then you'd have the crew down the back, and then there's just great characters like they'll have a story of some sort or other, and there's always something, or they'll spot something, and in be it coming into the football pitch or just going up on the bus in a field somewhere, but they're just characters. It's great, and it just lightens the mood constantly. It's about lightening that mood. Like I think Alan Costello is a great character for that type of stuff. Like he was just, there was always a quip out of him. So we had when you look back, we had some great times.
Keith is looking to butt in there, yeah.
Well, this is obviously I'm trying to set him up for the college one. But
Now, if you think of any,
I had a text from Coss actually earlier on, said he was someone was on to him looking for stories for tonight, but I just said he said he couldn't reveal anything too major, and I said, right, we'll keep it that way for tonight.
Okay, keep it that way. He did tell me about you going to training after a car crash. Yeah. You were made to train.
Yeah, I don't remember that one a huge amount now, to be honest.
You didn't cause the crash, though.
Concussion.
No, concussion, yeah. But yeah, we'd some crack. Like I had 3 years down in college up here, and it was just kind of when I was brought into the panel first of all. Like, but we'd Andy, we'd Alan Coss, Michael Moyles, like all the Donegal boys, McGee's, Toys, Papa Dirks. Like there was an awful crew of boys down here. Like so, it was very difficult not to have the crack and not to stay in all the time. So some of them.
Probably why Donegal didn't get going for a while as well.
Yeah, some of them drives down to train. I probably don't remember too much of, anyways. But yeah, like Cost was just always good. Like he was never in bad form. No. He was never seemed to be taking life too serious. But when he needed it, he was always on. So, but like I owe them boys probably. I think I said this before. I owe Andy more my career, like for bringing me down from training. So like I was kind of too fond of having the crack up here, and come Tuesday night he'd pull up at the door, bring me out and down training. So yeah. Did
you really want to go some of the time?
No, Jesus, no. When we were going down to Castlebar at the back pitch with John Mahan and there was no sign of footballs, he didn't want to be there. So.
And that was the thing Alan told me. He said like you got rear-ended by someone, and then you were okay, but the car was drivable but not great. You arrived down the pitch, and he said they told Mahan, "Yeah, we're just in a crash." Okay, off you go. Just run. Out you go.
Like literally, you'd say McHale Park, the back pitch at the back behind the goals. Big stone walls. We'd come out of the dressing room. You wouldn't see John before the training. Like this was back when there was no team meetings before training or no anything like that. You'd literally go out onto the pitch and the cones would be set up. So you'd be going out there every January, February, praying that he mightn't be there, or there'd be loads of footballs on the pitch, and you'd turn the corner, and all you'd see is the Jeep pull down the back. No footballs, just cones, and you just thought, oh, here we go. 2 hours of torture.
2 hours? Well, would he partake in himself? Like he looked like a fit man, like.
No, but in fairness, more than the man beside me, he wasn't shy and showing off the tan, like, so he'd have the shorts on in the middle of winter as well.
And over the years, you must get loads of offers of sponsorships or brand, ambassadorships. Anything crazy come to mind? I heard a story, Eamonn, allegedly you might have been offered golden boots at one stage. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Oh, it is true. Okay.
Yeah, it was just one of those.
Was it after a particular moment or a season or just random?
No, it was 07. Again, it goes back to myself and Jeremy Sullivan, The Rock from Cork, played hurling. Nike got a hold of us, obviously through the GPA. Nike got a hold of us, and they said that they'd sort us out with a couple of pairs of boots and a bit of gear and all that type of stuff. And so we said, sure, why not? We'd do a bit of promotion out of it. Obviously got a few pound out of it as well. So obviously I got a white pair and a bright yellow pair. White pair weren't too bad. I actually played in them, and we managed to win a Connacht title with them. But then I got a message from the guy that gave us. He said, "Jesus, it'd be great if you promote the yellow ones." So foolishly, I thought I would, and I wore them at training, and they were grand. They were lovely fit. Don't get me wrong; they were really, really nice fit. But it was just one of those when we went up. Then we played Cork in Crow Park, and literally I think I handled the ball twice and I didn't kick it at all, so the boots got absolutely no use whatsoever. And obviously we were knocked out, we were gone, and we went back, and I went back to the club, and I had the 2 pairs of boots, and I just left them on the table, and I said, right lads, who wants a yellow pair of Nike boots? And a young lad called Noel Gahan from Tourlestrand ended up wearing them, and he played outstanding with them, unfortunately, for about a year after. But yeah, it was just one of those where you just lost a little bit of focus. Could have done without it.
Damo, you ever get any sponsorship deals? Do I remember a photo of you in a boxing rig out or something once now?
That was actually a white collar boxing
Tournament.
charity event. Yeah.
Yes.
No, nothing too outrageous. Like obviously worked down through the years with our good friends and EJs.
Have they ever given you a suit you're like, oh Jesus, I don't want to wear that? It's okay, be honest now.
There's a couple of times. Tom definitely thinks I'm a size smaller than I am.
He thinks I'm a size bigger than what I am as well.
Yeah, a few times that's happened. It actually happened a couple of weeks ago. I was going to Wimbledon. We had to have a quick changeover of jacket before I got on the plane and knock. Tried to squeeze me into a 42, not a chance.
Keith, you didn't. I didn't see you do me too much flash stuff, but there was a few teammates of yours. Maybe was there? Did you ever see anyone promoting something in your team? If you don't want to give names, but you would have kind of gone, oh, for Jesus' sake.
There's probably one or two obvious ones. I think everyone coming out can picture all right, whether they're running down a beach or whatever. But I won't hang in with the right. But again, more than Eamonn, I got a pair of boots a few years ago from Puma, and one was yellow and one was pink. They were fucking opposite ones, like. But again,
that wasn't by mistake.
You think Puma are ringing you think you're the biggest, the hot shot going. You're not going to say no to them. But yeah, look, some boys have done different things, but look, I'll never begrudge a man doing anything for a free pair of boots.
Yeah. There's a lot of begrudgery in the GA though, isn't there? With a lot of that kind of the personality behind it. Like I'd look from a GA point of view and look at the rugby lads, and I feel like they can get away with whatever they want. Yeah. And we're even on about Lee Chin in the bathtub, like as in if that. I know for a fact if that was me or Shane or Ado from AO, like you'd be hung. Like, then it'd be
let's put it out there now. If there's any bathroom company, you can get Keith, Eamonn, and Damo in a bath for the right price.
Maybe rightly so, but it's just I feel like the rugby lads get away with an awful lot more than we do.
They need the money a bit more as well, in fairness.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor devils. Go back to your careers again. Sledging. Who in your, if you want to pimp it, was there teams you found worse? Was there players you found? You're probably friends with them now and everything like, but
like, I never came across much of it. But when you're in cornerback, it's usually the corner forwards aren't going to be the ones that are doing the sledging. Like Damo didn't say too much to me that day, but
he just pulled you to the ground.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, I think. I would have heard stories and lads that said there was a bit went on. But to be honest, it was probably mostly the northern teams without kind of going into that whole stereotype.
No, I know, but that's okay.
But yeah, like I said, I never came across it just because corner forwards aren't at it. Like you did a bit of pushing and shoving, but you'd expect that. But well, look, sorry, there was one incident, all right, in the tunnel of Crow Park, but yeah, we don't want to go into that one too much.
Go on.
I think Philly McMahon.
We don't want to go into it. Philly McMahon.
I've started, so I might as well keep
better not
going
say
here.
anything.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. So like, just going into
again, he came out afterwards and said he was doing what he thought was going to work for the team and get inside Killing's head, and I wasn't starting that day, so I didn't think it was going to make too much of an effect if I kind of.
It's one thing I've written here, Dublin, like, because Darren McCauley said it once, like in some interview. I think it's this that he said to one of the players. It might have been Aidan O'Shea. I'm going again. I'm going to run again. Are you coming? Like teasing that kind of stuff. So these were the golden boys. But like, and as I said, Philly McMahon said a few weeks ago, I think it was the Armagh Kerry game. He said, "What would you done? I would have started a scrap. Like, would have just broke the momentum."
This thing with McCauley there, that's not really. You don't mind that sledging. Like I think we've all kind of had that. Whereas you'd hear stories of some boys that were getting really deep, like and kind of coming out with different stories and personal stuff like that's probably going a bit too far. But yeah, look, I'll be honest, I never came across anything too major from it.
Eamonn, you were around the pitch more than cornerback now. Did you see a bit of it?
Listen, I've probably a wicked tongue on me myself at times, but it would be never one that I'd instigate it with anybody. You know what I mean? You try and do a bit of pushing and shoving. I know we were playing Yee in that, I think it was 12 where I got my nose bursting. It wasn't anyone from my other person, but I was trying to do a bit of chirping with Barry Moore, and he was kind of destroying us around midfield at the time. And I had said to Tony Taylor, I said, come in here and sort of come across Barry now when we're going up together. And of course Tony mistimed it and first at me anyway, and Barry Morton was gone with the ball, and it was like, focus. But in fairness, you know, I can remember a young Aidan O'Shea was kind of getting on his back, but again, he was causing us too much trouble. You just sort of distract him. Because I remember back in '94, I was actually talking to, we played, I'm obviously managing with Boyle at the moment, and we played Knockmore in a challenge game last week, and I met Kevin Staunton. Kevin had played for years, obviously with Knockmore and with Mayo, and my first game was with the '94 against Mayo, and I was getting the curly finger after 18 minutes because Kevin had asked me about cows and cows calving and how's this fella doing and how's that fella, and I think he had probably about 18 or 19 possessions at that stage, you know what I mean. We were kicked off the field, but it was just one of those ones where I kind of learned very, very quickly that your focus needs to be in one place and on the ball. So yeah, you try it, but there was nothing, as Keith said there is some personal stuff that goes on, and you never forget. You might always hope that you come across a guy at some place and you end up getting your retaliation somehow or other. Mightn't necessarily be through words though.
We leave that to the crowd to decide. Damien, obviously you're key forward for Galway, a big man. You must be in everyone. When they're making plans with the opposition, like they must be like, we've got to get at him. And I presume you've had plenty of this, close contact, abuse. How have you found it? Is it something that's not as common nowadays, or is it more an older thing?
It's there, but I have to say I've never got it in a personal sense.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing too serious.
Just in
like
the balls the odd time, maybe.
But like, yeah, just a bit of argy-bargy. They've been like mouthing a small bit. Probably the funniest one. Well, funniest one looking back at it now. It wasn't funny at the time, but when we played Derry a couple of years ago, Brendan Rodgers was picking me up, and he'd kicked 2 points inside the first 10 minutes. And I had Chrissy McCaig, who was American Rob Finney, on the other side of the pitch, running across, roaring in my ear to track my man. you lazy bastard. And I had Rory Gallagher on the other line saying the exact same thing.
Wow.
Track your man. You're not fit. Run after him. Run after, track your man. Okay. And I didn't track him anyway. He got 2 points in the first 10 minutes, but I ended up getting man of the match.
So there you go. You take that one? You take that one? We were talking about this earlier on before the show.
Did you remind them though? Did you say it after? Did you go over to Rory Gallagher and say, "Jesus, I'm man of the match, Rory," just to let you know?
You
got to rub it in.
It wouldn't even be in me. I wouldn't even bother. Wouldn't waste my energy.
Well, we're on about Eamonn. You said you never started, but you wouldn't be afraid to give it back. We were playing a junior match up here in Sligo, St John's versus Turnerstrand a few years ago. We walk out of the pitch and there's Eamonn O'Hara and Jerry McGowan. It's like, oh, for God's sake. Do you remember a young EJ staff member playing cornerback that day?
I do indeed, Clerkin.
And I was there going, Clerkin is giving jib to this guy. Yeah. And then I was going, who are you giving jib to? And then, of course, you were worse. I was like, oh my God, they're both that. It was so funny.
I wouldn't mind Clerkin's actually a quiet lad.
He's not the Clerkin you know, so I can tell you that. Clerkin, he's a great character. I obviously coached him when he was up in Summerhill or whatever else, but he was a great lad. But he was vicious enough with the tongue. But I think he got taken off, or he was sent off by the end of the game.
I think you might be right on the red card, actually.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Sean was there. Sean was manager at that time, yeah? So there you go.
Did we win, Sean?
Yeah. Anyways, the next question, we just got very short in time. So we mentioned about drink bans. Obviously, we're all in the water here tonight, but like, Eamonn, you're a manager now. Like, is it this thing of like, from so many months a year, no drink at all? Or like, I know Porrick is famous enough in Galway, they say after a big match, it's okay to have a couple, like.
For me, I wasn't a drinker anyway growing up, so it was never an issue. It's not that I'm a massive drinker now or anything, but I would just take a very, very much a social drink. No, as a manager, when I went in, it's never really. It's not something I've ever said. I never ever spoke about. I was at Mohill, and I can remember starting off at Mohill with my club management. Obviously, we had Balladreen first. They went off, stuck with Turlestrand, and then on to Mohill. But there was a sort of perception that Mohill were a team of crazy lunatic drinkers. And the first bit of advice that I got walking into the dressing room was, you need to stop these fellas now from drinking. Now, my very, very first meeting with the team was on a Saturday evening, and Leitrim had played in a league game, and they were playing the following week in another league game. And when I walked into Gordon's pub, and I went down, and the boy said, the county lads are down at the bottom bar there, and I said, oh jeez, I'll go down and say hello to them. And there's about 15 pints stacked up on top of each other, and I said, what the fuck have I got myself into here? Like, but when they trained, and when they really, really went at it in terms of football, they went at it in terms of football. So it was never a spoken word. I'd never be the one to turn around and say, find the balance. If I'm going to come to you and find out why you're not playing as well as you are, and if drink is one of the reasons, then you're going to have to look at yourself more so than anything else. But these two are elite players, operating, getting to All-Ireland finals. There is a time when you need to. There's a great saying. My brother-in-law Tommy Brahenny, his father Tommy Brahenny Senior, St Mary's won the county final, and Mark obviously was a key member there. But I think it was day 4 of the drinking with St Mary's, and Tommy Brahenny Senior said to Mark, he said, "Now Mark, even the suck calf knows when to take the head out of the bucket." And it was just one of those ones where Marky B always sort of mentions, and it's about lads knowing when they need to step back and take it easy.
And Damien, is that you're obviously still playing now? What is it like these days? Is it rigorous, or is it kind of self-mannered?
In fairness to PJ, he would be very relaxed on it. As in, I think now it's gone to such a high level that there's a limit. It's hard enough to recover in between sessions as it is. Like, you go out, PJ'd always say, if you think you're fit enough and you're able to go out and have a few drinks, and you've earned it, go and have a few drinks. Especially after like when you win, say, a kind of final, or might be a league title or whatever it might be, or a big championship game. Like, they're like going out and having a few pints with the lads is probably more important and for camaraderie and everything than anything else. So yeah, like years ago, when I started off, it was like 6 weeks, absolutely no beer. Like, it was on the table, you're not allowed out, blah blah. But like now, it'd be very relaxed. You have games every 2 weeks, go for a few pints after, try not to stay out too late, and then.
So you're like the rugby lads in that world, is that? So?
Yeah, I think it's definitely gone more relaxed, and now it's nearly more professional as well. But like when you see in the Premier League, they're allowed out like midweek or whatever.
Yeah, Six Nations, that you see
same thing. And then the GA culture is like, no, shut off. And then it's like the more you abstain from her, the more you cancel or stop them from 4 weeks. So you let them out in after a night out, and they go on their rampage for 2 days. Like so.
Keith, did you ever break a drink ban? I have a leading question here.
Technically, I wasn't on a drink ban.
Yeah.
But it's probably not a great story to tell. But so I was called into the Mayo panel in 2005, early 2005. I was just training with the under-21s at the time. So John Mahan was over the 20s and the seniors. So seniors were playing Dublin a Saturday night away in Dublin. So he brought the under-21 panel as well to play a challenge game on the Sunday morning. So that was great. I had a friend's 21st on the Friday night. It's like, right, I'll go in, I'll have a few bottles, go to the game, be playing the challenge game with the 21s then on the Sunday. So a few led into a few too many, and finished up at 5 in the morning and getting on the bus at 10 o'clock the next morning. Got to Dublin.
The day of the match now, or the day before?
Yeah, the day. So there was the Friday. The seniors were playing the Saturday, and we were playing the Sunday in the 21 game. So I got on the bus, got to Dublin, having the food. Seniors were called into a team meeting. I was kind of walking away. Next thing I got Keith in here. So I got called into the team meeting for the seniors. So I was on the panel for the senior game. So that was the first I'd known about it. So I was kind of sitting there going, right, there's no chance of me coming on here at all. David Heaney gets injured halfway through the game, told to warm up, and brought in. So yeah, my debut for Mayo was a small bit on the worst side of things. But
again, completely accidental. You didn't know.
I didn't know. I didn't get the heads up. So, but yeah, as Damien said, like nowadays, like the condensed season, everything doesn't help. You don't get a chance. Whereas, again, I don't know what it was like in Sligo, but when I started off, like every league game, it was boys were heading out after it. Like even if it was playing the following week, because there was no recovery sessions the Monday. You train Tuesday, you train Thursday. That was it. Like there was no gym sessions.
Yep.
You'd even hear stories before that the boys would be going to train on Thursday night, and they'd be going out down the town after training on Thursday, like, and they'd play a league game on Sunday. So it's completely changed. But in fairness, as no more than PJ, James was always like, we're going to train that hard. You need to do yourself justice to be able to train the next day. If you're not training the next Tuesday, I can't play you the following week. But then when you won a big game or kind of championship game or kind of final, as he said, you earn the right to go out and enjoy yourself. So he never kind of shied away from that either.
As Keith mentioned about Andy picking him up, I used to get picked up from college as well and brought to training. And when we were training, this was the mid-90s, obviously. On the way back, the boys used to pull into a pub and have a couple of pints. So it was just one of those ones where, like, you can put drink bans in left, right, and centre, and it's a manager's nightmare, to be quite honest with you, because somebody's going to break curfew, and then you're creating a complete and utter stink, and then it's the rest of the lads saying, well, I think it's very, very much player policed at the present moment in time. I think there's obviously a culture that you can let in and it can go crazy, or there's a culture where you'd say, listen lads, either we're all, if there's drink, we'll all drink together, or nobody will drink, and that type of thing. So I think there is that understanding nowadays.
Very good. I'm going to ask a few quick rapid questions, and then I'm going to have a little chat with each of you very quickly, and then we'll have our break, okay? So I'm going to ask your best, you give you a minute to think about this now, your best opponent you ever come up against, your best teammate, you think, and the best manager you worked under. Now, Damien, we'll leave you out of the manager one because you better say Porrick, you'll be in awful trouble. Who wants to go first? Best opponent, best teammate, and the best manager you worked under.
Jesus. Best opponent, sure. I could be here all day. Gooch, Michael Meehan, Alan Brogan, Stephen O'Neill. I can list them all off. Best manager, I think James was probably the best in terms of how we changed things for Mayo, but Mickey Moore and John Morrison back in 06 were just a different gravy. Like the training was kind of ahead of its time in terms of even the fitness work, the small-sided games. They were just such a good pair. And what was the third one?
Your teammate that you played with.
Teammate, oh.
Might be club now as well, whoever you
club,
think.
Yeah. Just fucking headers in the club. I always say Kieran McDonald was the most skillful player. He was just ridiculous. But I think Lee, for just his all-round game, I could pick out Andy or Killian, but Lee was just, he could attack, he could defend, he could play it rough if you want to play it rough, but he was such a good footballer, like an athlete. He had it all really, So, two of them. So I'll give you about 10 answers there.
No, that's okay, because it's just Eamonn. You've a lot to choose from as well.
Yeah, I have an awful lot to choose from. I suppose my career has been kind of long, and from Graham Garrity, PJ, obviously, Ciara McGeeney, Seamus Moynihan, Maurice Fitzgerald, all of these fellas were just unbelievable. They were just unbelievable. They were the greats of the game, and you were lucky to kind of play against them.
No, they would probably say you as well, I'm sure. Many people would answer the same.
Highly unlikely, but it's just one of those where you're just fortuitous to play against them, and obviously to play with them in some scenarios, and even playing with Connacht and whatever else, you sort of had an opportunity to get up close and meet these fellas. But to pick one of those, I think somebody like Seamus Moynihan for me was just one of, he was a freak of nature in terms of power, strength, just ability to break the tackle and to get scores whenever he wanted to. But I'm leaving out is Ciara Mack, PJ, two of the best forwards that you'll never ever come across. In terms of their capability, is phenomenal. In terms of a manager, Mickey Moore was obviously my manager as well, early doors, and absolutely brilliant. Peter Ford was probably the one that really, really changed our attitude. And it's not being disingenuous or disrespectful to Keith, but there was a sort of I won't say arrogance, but a sort of a self-confidence that you say, why shouldn't we be good enough to win? And he really got that across in us in the early in 2000, 2001 and 2002 when we were playing up against the likes of Armagh, Tyrone and these ones where we were sort of getting very, very close. But obviously, for me, it's Tommy Breheny. I think Tommy was, obviously he won it. He's won our Connacht title with them in 07, but it was just the detail that he brought. It was just
that's the thing. What makes the difference?
It's how, it's like anything. It's how a manager makes you feel at any one time. As I said, even now, you can ask somebody about what's this manager like or what's that fella like. 15 fellas will say he's a great manager because 15 fellas are starting, and then there's one in the back that's not getting a bit of game time and he's breaking his balls a bit in relation to not being fit, and he'll say, he's a dick. So it's you might have difference of opinions, but I just think just the approaches and the attitudes. But it was just Tommy's attention to detail, and they're all three that I've mentioned, and there's attributes from all of them that I try and bring across into my set of management. So I think that's the best compliment you can give them. I better mention Kevin Walsh as well, just as a.
I was going to come in.
Well, I was waiting for somebody to throw fucking digs, so it obviously didn't happen.
I said I'd leave you out.
Yeah.
Damien, we'll just go for your best teammate and best opponent.
I again played with some unbelievable players. Still am playing the group players that we have at the moment. It's probably the best group players that I've ever played with in my 10 or 11 year stint. But probably favourite teammate to play with is probably Conway.
Because the long ball's in. Perfect passing.
I don't think himself and John Daly now, in fairness, to be on a pair for a kick pass and as an inside forward. There's other players I remember when I was growing up watching Kieran McDonald and other players like that could kick long ball outside of the boot and stuff into the inside line. Even Kevin McLaughlin, like for Mayo, it used to be, I'd say he's a treat to play with because just always heads up football. Like Conroy, as soon as he gets the ball, he just looks to deliver. And like if you're playing inside, you just know he's gonna boot the ball. So yeah, he'd probably be my favourite to play with, as in link up play and everything, and just a phenomenal player. Toughest injuries, I've had a few. There's been a good, like, I remember early years. I remember we played Donegal in a challenge, and me and Danny Cummins screened Neil McGee, or I screened Neil McGee for Danny Cummins to get away, and he goes, "Do that again, I'll break your fucking jaw."
That'd be a sledging maybe.
Small bit, but I marked Neil a couple of times in my younger years, and yeah, he was excellent. Then Jason Foley, very good for Kerry, but probably Lee as well. I think had some serious battles with Lee Keegan down through the years, like that. So good on the front foot, but really good at defending as well, physically strong. So yeah, probably Lee, right?
I was saying this to you earlier on. Do you love people coming up to the pub talking to you about GA? I think we can move on from that question.
Does this count?
But look, I presume the answer most of the time is probably no. But is it like after a match you just want to go, I need to get a bit of break? Like I don't really want to talk about the match. I'd imagine so. Eamonn's thinking pensively.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
You're not offending anyone.
When
I can
you're involved
imagine.
with it, like it can be difficult. You know, whether the game went well or went badly. Like you just want to nearly get away from it for a while. Like I mean, when you're finished up, it's grand. You can win. You can have the crack, and you can talk about who's going to win, who's going well. But yeah, when you're just in your own bubble, you're just kind of yes, no answers, and you come across as arrogant probably at times, but you don't mean to be. You just kind of just don't want to be engaged in it. Like, to be quite honest.
It just depends what they're talking about, because they'll be telling you shit that you don't want to hear because it's nonsense. And
do you ever get advice like in the pub? Yeah.
Yeah, loads of it, and you have to be respectful to everybody. And you know, I'm a supporter as well as a player. So like, you know, you've often talked to fellas nowadays that might have played and you'd be just shooting the breeze, but you know what to try and say to them. Like it's not a massive issue, but it's just the content of what you're trying to deal with. And if somebody is pissed, the best thing to do is just walk away. Like it's one of those.
And Damien, you're living in the world of selfies. I'm sure you go to a big match, it must be left, right, and centre. People just think they can ask.
Yeah, but it's all, I suppose, it's all part of it as well. It's about promoting it as much as possible. Now, to be honest, I wouldn't be the best. I used to love when I was with Shane, because Shane would stay talking football for days, and I just walk away. Like that, trying not to be ignorant in the same, but I just wouldn't be overly keen, especially when you're in the middle of it. You have enough kind of stuff to deal with and that. But I'll never forget when I think we were playing Mayo in under 21 game. I had to go to my cousin's communion the night before, and my brother was sitting beside me, and an old man came over to me, and he's like, "Are you all set for tomorrow?" Yeah. All set. He's like, "Quick fast ball into the full forward line tomorrow. Quick fast ball." I just looked at my brother like, "Please save me away from this conversation." But yeah, no, it's all part of it. And look, there's people who mean the world, and look, football is everything to them as well, and it works both ways. We'll be in that boat down the line, fishing for information off younger lads.
You'll be giving all the advice.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I'm just going to have a quick little couple of minutes chat with each of you now as we go along. So, Damien, I'll stay with you there. I mean, you didn't start playing for Galway till you were under 21, and you used to play cornerback for your club initially.
Yeah.
When did it change?
Yeah, so I didn't make the minor panel at 18, so that was the summer of 2012, and then coming into December in 2012 that year, I was playing all right with the club, playing junior C, literally myself and the brother midfield, low enough level stuff now, but it was grand, and started playing well, got called up to junior A's, then got a call off Alan Flynn to go in with the under 21s at the end of not making the minor panel. Thought it was a piss take, first of all, because there was a few bogus calls going around. So I went in, absolutely butchered the fitness test. We did 150s upstairs in Loch George. We had to do 5 of them. I completed 2.5, and I was getting sick. So I was like, I'm gone. I was like, I'm never going to be called back again. I was like, it's grand, I'm only 18. I might get another, at least they'll know me for next year. They might know my name next year. And then eventually they seen some attributes of me, power-wise. My jump was good or whatever. Speed wasn't bad. And kept me on. Probably took a chance on me in a little way. Ended up, every cut that was coming, I was ready for the phone call to say good luck, and I was like, grand. There was a bit of crack while I was there and enjoyed it with the lads. I met all the cuts, and then the final cut was there, and I was still there. I was like, lovely, I get the gear now. Happy days.
We all love the gear right there.
Back then, it was a big thing. But yeah, ended up then, I was cornerback for my club growing up, moved to centre back, wing back. Was playing wing back with the under 21s that time, and then as it was coming towards championship, we were playing Sligo in the first round and ended up playing midfield. Got a point from midfield in the first round of championship, under 21. And then, kicked on from there. We ended up winning All-Ireland that year. I was like, that was the year, yeah. First time playing with Galway, won All-Ireland. I was like, love, this is easy.
Oh yeah, you're like, it's going to keep rolling in.
Were you sledging as a cornerback or anything like that?
Was it sledging? No.
You didn't try to break anyone's neck right now.
No, I reciprocate it now, so I know what it's like to be a cornerback. So.
I read in one of your interviews there earlier this year, you kind of said you'd rather the chaos than control in a game. And I mean, I'm obviously a Galway fan. Do you think Galway at times could have brought more chaos? Especially the Meath game kind of stuck out to people. Were you looking on? Is it as easy as us as fools looking on going, should just let it in? But, was there something that just didn't seem to click on the day?
Yeah, it just didn't.
Until you came in, of course.
Even then, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. But no, it just didn't happen. It was just probably a little bit stuck in the old game in a way of being that passive kind of holding on to possession rather than penetrating enough, and just didn't probably get enough options inside, or didn't look to kick it inside enough when the options were there. And just probably it's one regret we'll have from watching on that first half. There was room, and I remember chatting to the boys at half time, just being like, lads, there's loads of room in there. Make sure you're either shouting for the ball or else moving for the ball, and make sure they're kicking into you, because you'll find space in Croker, especially the new rules. It's great. I was
going to ask you, the new rules must be perfect for you, but obviously you've just had an unfortunate season, and any game you came in, Derry, everything was just like chaos came when you came on,
Yeah, but it's this year has been a write-off, as in, I don't think anyone will ever understand how bad it was, but coming back, trying to play against athletes who are saying to Eamonn, they're in tip-top shape, trend since November. I just had setback after setback, would have been really struggling for fitness, and just then I suppose what gets you through a couple of the games, you're excited. This is nearly a chance to play the new rules, because I didn't really get that much game time in training, because you'd be doing certain drills where you'd be doing 11v11s or that, but not an actual open game where you get to link up with your midfielders, your half back line, that. So just a disappointing year overall, and hopefully that'll be the end of it.
The end of it, yeah. And again, I'm going to ask each of this: your best day on the pitch, whether it's club, was it underage, was it best day and worst day in your career so far? Yeah,
the best day was probably the best day in a Galway jersey was probably the Derry game for me. As in that whole experience of just scoring the 2 goals, and just the moment. The Armagh game before that went to penalties was unbelievable as well. Just the N17 on the speakers afterwards, after the emotional roller coaster I think that we went through and the fans went through. But that was probably the best day, and then the worst day was probably the Kerry game following the All-Ireland final. Didn't get a touch of the ball all game hardly. Just one of those days.
Were you wearing yellow boots?
I was well off. I was wearing socks.
But that must be it. A game, you build up. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure on you as one of the stars, but it can just not click on the day, and it's not always necessarily your fault. If the ball just didn't get put in enough or whatever.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. As in, obviously, as Eamonn knows as well, when you're playing inside, you're semi-reliant on the boys out the pitch for delivery of ball, and there was times then where you're just trying. Shane was on fire that day, so you nearly get out of his way and just let him do his thing, and there was a bit of that as well. But yeah, looking back, I probably just should have impacted a little bit more. Tried to go and get on ball myself a bit more, even though it's probably going away from your role in the team of being the fulcrum inside, and you're trying not to be selfish in a way of going looking for ball while still sticking to the game plan. But yeah, that's probably a regret I have of myself.
I would eat at you maybe I could have done that day, even though no one else probably said, why didn't you do this? You kind of eat yourself.
Yeah, I probably would have, but my role was to be in around the square and be an option for a kick pass. But that's just probably my best and worst days probably came 2 weeks apart.
You're now moving into the punditry world. You done the Sunday game recently, and you did it last year, and you said in a quote, January 2024, you said, I don't think I'll do it again because I'll probably meet some of those lads next year. And then you're there again a few weeks ago. And was that your second or third time?
Second time, yeah.
Second time. Would you have any
Jesus,
advice?
They've really, really gone downhill.
I was going to say, have you any advice with Eamonn on how to get on it a second time?
Don't talk about managers.
Keep your powder dry.
So Eamonn, that famous day, we'll get to your proper amazing stuff you did as well on the pitch, but do you ever look back now, what do you think of that moment? Do you still stick by it? Do you kind of go, maybe I should have changed my words differently? Obviously for anyone watching, it's when you mentioned the comments about Kevin Walsh that year.
No, I stick by it 100%. I suppose, obviously, it's amazing how some people will try and grab a pile of puzzle pieces and try and sort of make them fit and make it work. A couple of people love using the old cliche of sour grapes and stuff like that, but the reality of it was just the timing of it. When I finished with Sligo, obviously the first thing I got was a call from RTE. Would I be come in? Would I be part of the RTE panel, etc. And kind of thought about it long and hard, and I said I would, because I also had to sort of factor in terms of time, in terms of what I was going to be available to my club, because they've been very, very good to me. And you know, I was running out of years. I was 37 at the time, so I was running out of years in terms of playing with them. So it was just something I decided to do, and then one thing led to another. Sligo had been really, really struggling with the league. They'd won one game, I think, got relegated in the end and went over then to London, and it was a logistic kind of a nightmare, unfortunately, and they got beat, and I happened to be on the show at the time, and I think if RTE knew that Sligo were going to get bet that day, they probably wouldn't have a Sligo person on it. Okay. But the fact that they were playing, I was on it and possibly going to talk about it. But one thing led to another. Obviously, they got bet, and my comments were what they were, and you know, I just thought there was a slip. I think Kevin was there 5 years at that time, and it started to slip, and you could see the reaction of the lads, and the same mistake were being made from the league right the way through to the London game. And obviously, Sligo at the present time, Scarden was under lock and key because of other issues. So really, when it all came together, the question was asked, and I answered it. And I think, as Damien says, you're going in there and you're asked your opinion, and if you're trying to bullshit your way in RTE and in front of how many hundreds of thousands of people that are listening to you, they'll smell out bullshit very, very quickly. And I think you have to be very, very honest and truthful, and that's what it was. And you know, whatever happened, I made the call, and it's, you know, the response from Sligo people was unbelievably positive. Well, on text message anyway. Whether it was behind closed doors might have been a different story. But I stand by them.
But I think I admire it, like, because there's too much softness nowadays, and they're afraid to say anything, like, you know what I mean?
Oh, listen, the Sunday game is a great. You know, the likes of Brawley and these fellas, you know, they're an institute, you know, and I know the boys. Some people can't stand it, like Joe Brawley is involved with Knockmore at the present time, as some people may or may not know. He's a selector there, and even the last day, like, he was over, and we were obviously joking about it in the clubhouse afterwards, about RTE, about the two of us getting fired from RTE, etc. But you know, the funny thing was, is I said to you, I'm still on it, I'm still doing the radio, which is really, really good. But it was just, listen, it can get a little bit sanitized at time, and you know, it's the same people are saying the same thing, just slightly different. And but that is sport. You just try and analyse it as best you can, and the pundits that are there are exceptionally knowledgeable, and you just give them time. And Damien's gone on there, and I've listened to him, and he's been very insightful, and the way he just looks at things, and the way you articulate it, it's insightful. So it's a thankless gig. It's one of those ones what I really enjoyed, but I love doing the radio side of it, because you say what you see and you move on. With the Sunday game, it's one of those where you have time to process it, and you're trying to work it. Exactly, you're just trying to sort of get all your clips together and get everything sorted, and you're working with the editors, and you want to cut this. And the first thing with me with the Brawley or Spillane was that we all have an earpiece. For people that may not know, we all have an earpiece, and Brawley might start talking, and he might start eating into your time. So you might have 3 clips for Maya might have 3 clips. So then all of a sudden the editor, whoever that might be, will end up saying, listen, Eamonn, we're cutting your clips down to 2. And you're kind of saying, well, what 2 clips are they? Like, which one are you pulling?
Right, yeah.
So then when the guys are going to produce it and going to say, right, and Des would ask you a question, yeah, well, and it's the clip of Damien, I'd say, all right, this is the one I'm talking about. I didn't know what it was, the one of Keith that's been cut. So it's live, and you have to just adapt.
Just go with it. Yeah. Now, going back to your unbelievable playing career, club and county, what stands out for you? Is it the obvious one? Is the kind of final, or?
Listen,
the
I
great
think
days in Croke Park.
you'd asked me the question earlier on today, and I suppose I kind of thought about it. I just think playing for your county is just a very, very special thing. I think it's a very, very unique thing, and I suppose from coming from I'm not a Sligo or a Galway, and we suffered heavy defeats against them, and the odd time we bet them, and they're special days that you're able to sort of compete against the top three in Connacht, and that's what I always strive for, was to be at your very, very best, or try and play at your very, very best, and that was the one thing that I really enjoyed about it. So the success that came around was always nice, but it was just the playing. It was just that playing, pitching yourself against the best teams that are out there.
I suppose all of you, I suppose, the dark days that happened, but there must be loads of good. Do you sometimes stop and think of the journey on the way and go, right, hold on, there was a lot of good time? That only comes maybe in retirement, does it?
Yeah, it does. I think for me, it's very, very much the case. Even the lads that I meet nowadays, that I'll be 50 next birthday, and it's one of those ones where you're kind of saying to yourself, God, where's the time gone to? Yeah. We had great times, and you look back and you kind of say, nearly 20 years ago since we won Connacht, it's over 31 years since I started playing with Sligo at senior level. So you just meet fellas along the way, and they've got a little bit older, but we've got something in common, and it's something unique. Not everybody gets the opportunity to do it, but as I said there, when you're at the bar, some people want to come over and talk to you, and you got to be respectful to them. They just want to pick your brain for a minute, and they might just want to compliment you, and it makes them feel good. So for me, it's a very, very special thing to play against these, and with the greatest respect to both of them, when they would get close to winning an All-Ireland, it was great to be able to play them. Then the following year, you'll be able to pitch yourself against them, say, how close are we? Are we there? Are we thereabout? And back in 01 and 02, like Galway had won it in 98 and 01. We ended up losing to them in a Connacht final, and Tyrone won it in 03, and we had beaten them. Armagh won it in 02. So we were very, very close, but close as Keith and Damien would know, close is just not good enough.
And like a 0-1, 0-2, would you? I mean, obviously, I think you said at one stage that there is a inferiority complex sometimes in some of the smaller countries. But like beginning of those seasons, did you go, we genuinely, our target is win the All Ireland, or how would it have progressed?
You got to be realistic, what I mean. We never won one, so how can you just say this year we're going to do it and click our fingers? It's very, very hard, and Galway have a history of winning. Mayo mightn't be so much a history of winning them, but they strive to get there, and they do their level best to get there, and that's all you can do, is get your level best. Even to listen to Damien there, and if he was playing this year, I think Galway would have won an All-Ireland. That's how close it is. So it comes down to an injury of an individual, a unique type of player that will bring a bit of robustness, powerful. The new rules would ideally suit him. So I know he's sitting here beside us, he might be the reason why Galway didn't progress to an All-Ireland or win an All-Ireland, and that's the fine margins. So it's so important to get everything right. It's the same with Keith, those ricochets that went into the net. Sorry for reminding you, but that's the difference. It's that close, and you see Armagh out of the blue. Nobody saw Armagh winning it last year. You look at all the teams, no one said Armagh are the last team that are going to win it, and they're going to win it. And then this year, when it started out, Armagh are the only team that you can actually see winning it, and all of a sudden they're gone. So they're just fine margins, particularly at the top level, and but playing is for me, that's the most special part of it.
And obviously you've had quite a successful managerial career of late as well. How would I say? What do you remember your managerial career or managerial debut back in, was it New York 2004?
Yeah, I said I wasn't a drinker, but I think I may have drank over there.
So what was the story? There was no manager or something going over there. It was an FBD League final.
FBD League final, obviously. There was, I think James Kieran's had been the manager, and he stepped down. James was, I really, really loved James. He was such a genuine fella, and he was the same mindset as myself. And there was a lot of talk around Sligo playing the Tommy Murphy Cup, and we kind of agreed that we wouldn't play it, couldn't be entered into it. And then there was a crew went away, and unfortunately James was on my side, or I was on James' side, and some of us played and some of us didn't, and obviously James wasn't part of it then going forward, and so there was a gig to New York as a result of winning the FBD the previous January, and God, we were all on it. But now it coincided with the St Mary's lads, won't thank me for this, Marky B, Johnny Martin and Johnny Davey. We were playing them in the county final the following week, but the Turles Strand man, Neil Egan, was manager at our time, and Neil says, yeah, belt away, enjoy yourselves, don't worry about it. And he kind of trusted us, so we headed over. The St Mary's lads didn't. we were in a B&B over in New York, downtown New York. I wouldn't call it a B&B. It was probably a B because it was under construction. There was only a bed.
Bit like the Mayo lads in
so
Dublin
we
this
had
year.
there was no food, but there was no sight of any of us for the 3 days. And of course, I was tasked to be manager with Paul Durkin at the time. So we had just tell the lads, we're training. We're going for a walk around Central Park at 10:30 before the game for 2:00. We just said, get everyone together, we'll have a breakfast and whatever else. And I saw fellas walking in at 11:10. Kieran Quinn, I don't know, I didn't see him for 3 days, but he was.
And he's hard. He's easy. It's not hard.
Kieran is such a lovely fella, but
yeah.
he just walked in the door and he just looked at me and smiled, and I just get in my gear. And that's the first time we saw the bed, but it was we just turned up and we got bit by a point. So my managerial career was our starting match wasn't particularly good.
We can't get to the break now without asking you. Obviously, you said last year someone was asking you with the Leitrim job. You said, "Look, I'd never turn down a county role, or never not consider it, I should say." Obviously, Sligo job, would it be something on your radar, I assume?
Yeah, well, listen, I have to be respectful to the process right now. They are in the middle of interviewing, so I'm not here to canvass for that. I've done my bit, and the county board will make a decision in the coming days, I presume. And yes, it's something that I've put my hand up for, and I just hope that whoever it is and whoever gets it, that all of Sligo get behind it, because we have to close the gap on both Mayo and Galway, and obviously Mayo are in a building process, Roscommon are in a building process, so it might be an opportunity for somebody to get in there and get very, very close and test this Galway team.
Cool. Keith, will you any chance you take the Mayo job on your radar?
I was going to go off the Sligo one, but after hearing that, I think I'll leave it. Jesus, no, not yet. Anyways,
would you have a preference, or maybe you kind of don't want to say that because
Mayo.
you probably know a lot of fellas.
I think Lee came out during the week and said he reckons Andy should get it, but. Just chatted to him before. I think if Andy wants it, it probably is his to take, assuming he kind of gets a good team with them. Like there's been very, very little talk about it around who I've been talking to anyway. So it's hard. Look, there's always lots of names thrown out. Some of them realistic, some of them not realistic. So it's probably Andy's there if he wants it. But the same to there. Like I think there is a good core there. It's just it is kind of it's easy to use that whole rebuilding phase. Like there's a lot of young guys there. There'll be a few guys probably leaving the next couple of years. So. You need someone who's going to go in there maybe 3, 4, 5 years of their time and kind of rebuild it. So it's a big commitment to whoever goes for fair play to them.
And obviously, a good manager, you've all said, is key. And James Horan came in 2011. But before that, was nutrition high on your agenda in college?
I don't know where you're getting all this info.
Thank you, Brian McBrennan.
Yeah. No, I suppose money in college wouldn't have been great. So nutrition went out the window.
He told me ketchup, Nutella, and pizza. That was the 3 stable parts of your diet.
It's kind of fairly stable, all right, isn't it? Yeah, but you mentioned, like James, the first year 11 he mentioned the logistics night we're going for London. We went to London that year, the first round of the championship. Like, when you talk about logistics, we drove to Galway to get a flight to Waterford to fly to some place in London that was about a 3-hour drive from the hotel. So it was mental stuff. Stayed in the hotel. The Champions League final was on that night, so we got there. They had a room for us, but they had Doritos on the table, they had sweets on the table, and it was just.
Unbelievable.
We just weren't in the mind frame or fit to go.
All you wanted was Nutella.
Yeah. So I wasn't happy with everything. So, but look, it's changed. James kind of changed the whole mindset of everything. But just put the support structures in place. Talk about management teams. It's not a manager. It's gone so big now. But he just put the structures there to kind of make as life as easy as possible from the players. And once that's in place for you, like I said, you just go out and play football. Then after that.
And your first bow into did you play minor as well, or?
Yeah. I played minor in 03, 2 years under 21.
And won the All-Ireland. Was that the first year?
No, we got hammered by Galway in 05 up in Pearse Stadium and managed to beat them in the kind of final then in 06 and won the All-Ireland. So, you talk about good days. That's one that'll stick out, all right. But
you were saying in one interview that you didn't think you had the skill set for senior football. You kind of did the under-21.
Yeah, I suppose when I came in, cornerbacks you were there to stop your man getting the ball, and if you got it, you kicked it as far as you could, or you hand passed it off. That was it, So... that was basically my skill set for the first few years, and then just the game started to change. You had some Mark O'Shea, Ricey McMenamin, Carl Lacey, Anthony Lynch, these boys who were actually good ball players as well as cornerbacks. So they started to change the game, and then obviously tactics started to come into a bit more, and the whole thing evolved. So, if I started now, I probably wouldn't have been any nearer where my skill set was back then.
Okay, so it was a key part, but your speed got you through it.
Basically,
and I presume Zippy, the nickname, is that pace, or is there another reason behind
There's
it?
another reason, yeah. I think it was after one of the Sigerson games in Sligo. For some reason, someone reckoned I looked like Zippy out of
Rainbow.
yeah.
Only certain people in the audience will get that one.
Yeah.
Was
So
it drink
I didn't
involved?
see
Was
it.
he-
I didn't see it myself now, but that's where it came from. And some reason it stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, and you also said once, and I think we all just associated with Mayo is chaos. Like, did you actually plan? Okay, lads, at this point, unleash hell, kind of. Let's go mental.
Like it wasn't the way we said, right, we'll just go and be chaotic. Like James's whole mantra was he just wanted us to play fast attacking football, always on the front foot. We weren't bringing back sweepers or setting up defensive systems. For us, it was all about going forward. And particularly when we were playing Dublin, like, I mean, you know, you had Dublin team that were probably the best team ever to play. If you just sit back and let them have the ball, they'd find a way to get around you and they'd kick scores. So for us, it was just, we believed that we could match them physically and aerobically. So for us, it was just go, press them high, press Cluxton's kickouts, go man to man, and that usually just led to kind of high octane, chaotic games, as some people might call them. Look, it worked well for us, I suppose, up until a point. We know what point that was, but yes, that was it. It wasn't a tactic of causing chaos, but that's just the way we wanted to play. It was kind of a high-paced game. It suited the players we had. Like I said, when you Lee in the half-back line, Donny Vaughan, Kevin McLaughlin, these guys, Boiler, it just suited them to be just going at it, like.
I mean, I look at, we all know, obviously you've had a few bad days, but what would be your best in a Mayo jersey? And, you know, as I said, you've had a few bad days in finals, but, like, was there one particularly bit you like?
I think probably 13 and 17 are the two that stand out. I think 12, we came up against the Donegal team. We're probably just that small bit ahead of us in terms of tactics. Like I look back, or I watched that game back through over COVID, like when all the games have been shown, like, and the amount of ball we just kicked away was chronic. Like, you know, if you watch that now under today's kind of analysis, you'd be slaughtered. Like, but that was just the way we played. Whereas Donegal were that bit ahead of us tactically wise. So I think 13, we were playing really, really well. We had a big win against Galway, a big win against London, bet Donegal, bet Tyrone, and then we should have gone in at half-time a lot further ahead in that half-time that Ireland than we were. Dublin came out, started second half well, and we just didn't play well at all. So that's the one that kind of gets me, where 17 you could say we probably played as best as, or as well as we could have, and still just managed to come up a small bit short. So they're probably the two. But good days, like anytime we played Dublin and Croke Park, the atmosphere was just ridiculous, like, you know, so regardless of the result. But that's under 21 finals, Connacht final in 9, where Paddock got the last minute winner up in Pearse Stadium. Kind of final in 15 is looking to be captain. They're the kind of days that stand out. But like, even you talk about club as well, like we won 2014, we won intermediate football and hurling back to back in 2 weeks, so like that kind of stands out as well from a club point of view.
And Alan Costa told me to mention that they would have won a second All-Ireland under 21 football only for you decided to be a hurler for the year, he said. So you didn't stick around for 1 year. You love your hurling. It's a massive part of your sporting career.
Yeah, so look, I suppose I hate to admit it, but fought this from Galway, like, so nobody's perfect.
Okay, you're
you know.
amongst friends
yeah,
here, you're
so
fine.
but yeah, again, he's not from a hurling stronghold, but hurling would have what he brought us to when we were younger, so we kind of grew up going to Galway hurling games. So yeah, that was just kind of a big part of our life. But Cost mentioned 0-4. Like, I think John brought me into the 21s for a while and was there for the Connacht Ireland semi-final, and yeah, just other things kind of took priority for some strange reason, and ended up not going to the All-Ireland final. But I think they lost by a point or so. Yeah.
Wow. And you could have played for Galway hurlers potentially. It was a little mention once upon a time.
I think it was more of a pipe dream, but yeah, look, it was never a reality. Like, there was no way I was going to be leaving the club at home or anything like that. I think I'd have got both hands chopped off. I went home and told them I was transferring. So yeah, look, would have been nice to kind of test yourself, but the reality is it was never going to happen.
Well, thanks very much, lads. Before I let you go, I'm going to have one last quick question for the break. I want each of you to tell me one transfer of a player you'd give to your county now, and you can't pick David Clifford. And then we'll take a 15-minute break.
Con O'Callaghan.
Con O'Callaghan. Damien, there's an interest as a live player here now.
I'd have Brian Fenton. He's only on sabbatical. He hasn't retired yet. So.
Oh, inside information there.
As in this year, like.
Yeah, can be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I would have always said Michael Murphy, I suppose, going back over the years, just because he's such an all-round footballer. He could play in midfield, centre forward, or play him centre back if you needed to. Yeah. But obviously he's a bit older now, so I'll stick with him.
Stick with Michael Murphy. Well, he's not doing bad this year at all. Well, listen, folks, give a massive round of applause to our guests. we're obviously we're gone a little bit longer than we thought, which is fine. But if we just do a quick 10-minute break, maybe get your drinks, get a couple of drinks, go and enjoy. Thanks for watching at home. If you want to drop a comment, we might read some of the comments, ask a couple of questions if we get time in the second half. Emlyn Mulligan will be joining us. He's off playing a match. And anyone in the audience, if you have a question, you can tell me or you can write it down there with Ailey at the table. Okay, we'll see you all in a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Jeez, I hope people talk to us.
Association with EJ Menswear, and don't forget, this is all in aid of the Together for Sean campaign. You'll see the link pop up during the live broadcast. So donate what you can if you're watching at home, or if you're in the bar, we have a lovely bucket down there as well. You can help out our good friend Sean and his family. So now you may have noticed we have got another good-looking, dark-haired, tanned man on the stage now. With us, Eamonn Mulligan. You're very welcome to the stage.
Sorry, I just apologise.
Hold on. He's an Eamonn O'Hara from Timu now. That's what or from Wish, actually. Wish, I'd say, yeah.
I'm feeling it's going to get very funny here now.
Apologies with the late entrance. But,
yeah, well, you told me you'd only do one half.
Yeah,
so.
one life, one club, so I had to give him a club commitment there.
How did the first half go in the challenge match?
Oh, yeah, positive.
Positive score?
Couple,
that'll do, so watch out.
In-house, it's all in-house, so we can't dwell into it too much. The manager's brothers down the back there, so I have to keep it all right. Okay, so we're going to go straight into... first, I forgot to ask you. We asked Eamonn earlier on about the sending off with you and him years ago. Can you give us your version of events very quickly? I can, yeah. Yeah. It's a funny kind of story, I suppose. It's a bit longer going into it. I could dwell a wee bit as I can, but leading up to that game, I suppose, unfortunately, I was never in the great position these men had of, challenging for Connacht titles or All-Irelands or such. So just any game in Connacht was an All-Ireland final for us. And back then, I suppose, we were competitive enough under Mickey Moore in Division 4 at the time, and I think you were Division 2, and I think you got relegated. But when we were kind of out of the league and we couldn't get promoted, there used to be a ritual, myself and another good mate of mine, Gary Reynolds. Every Monday, we used to go in the Monday club. And in this...
That wasn't a training session?
No, it was, but we had a few pints most Mondays. But it was funny, we talk about visualisation now and psychologists, and every Monday, me and Gary used to say, I always used to say, and I said, I'm going to absolutely nail O'Hara if I get him. And likewise, he used to say, I'm going to absolutely nail Mark Breheny if I get him. And this continued, and the hatred really became just envisaged in our minds. And we did in that game, and it was a massive game for us, obviously, because we hadn't won a Connacht Championship game in a long time, and it got rough and ready. And I remember marking Brian Kern myself, who I got a couple of smacks in the back of the ear numerous times throughout the game. But towards the end of it, I remember the game was in the melting pot. I think we were a wee bit in control of it. And I remember underneath the stand, and everybody, the emotions were high, and I'm not sure what happened to Freewise, and I just remember saying to him, and then, excuse me language here, and I just put my hand out, and I said, today's the fucking day you retire. And in fairness to Eamonn, he reacted like he should have reacted. He jumped on top of me, hit me a clip in the back of the head, 2 of us roll on the ground. Referee comes in, gives us 2 yellows. That was all right. We got up. I passed.
Wasn't that 2 straight reds then?
No, 2 yellows. So, see, you're getting old in your memory. So we jogged back into it. We jogged back in.
The visualization didn't work that well anyway.
I think it was another. They had a free or something. Maybe did 4 in a kind of Sweeney. I think it was. Hit it, but we're in on the square on it again. Eamonn decided, right, I didn't get enough of him at the first stage. Jumped on me again, buried me. 2 of us got 2 yellows again, and we were sent off as a pair. And there's a good photo of the 2 of us shaking hands on it. And I remember Eamonn going, "We'll swap jerseys." Like, unfortunately, we can't, because we were told by Leitrim GA we had the funds to replace the set of jerseys we had. So, but no, listen, it's funny because how it turns out, listen, Eamonn's become, and I'd say, a friend now over the years, and, I've been up at RT with him doing commentary and different gigs, and he was the first man, actually, when I was doing analysis for a good few years, when I started doing co-coms, he was the first man I rang asking for advice, and he's been always brilliant on the phone, and maybe just aspired, with the tan and all that sort of stuff. Growing up, he was someone I wanted to be, but no, listen, that was my side of the story, so I'm not sure.
In fairness, it's fairly spot on, because since I went up to Mohill, there's 2 lads that I got to know, Kieran Kennedy and Ronan Gallagher, and Ronnie was actually playing that day as well, and they were both selectors with me with Mohill, so like that, Ronan would still bring up that one day in 2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like it's a sad reflection in a way, like in terms of like, and obviously I missed the first half, and what you boys have been playing, and like. That was my only championship win in a Connacht Championship. Bar beat New York and London, and to me, like that was an All Ireland. It doesn't matter, I suppose, whatever you win or lose, but that there is probably one of the best memories. It could be a sad reflection in a way, but yeah, that's just the way life is, and what the cards are dealt.
Everyone has their bar, like when you're playing junior B, and you go, we won it. Whatever it's a success with your friends and teammates is a success. Well, we're going to go straight into more controversy now, because we got Eamonn during the week to pick his all-star team, and I think they're going to pop up on the screen there in a moment, and you better see them at home. So we have a little bit of debate going on at half-time already here now. So we'll start off with the goalie. He chose Rory Beggan. Anyone disagree with that one on the panel here?
Me.
Yeah.
Who would you pick?
Patton all day.
Patton all day. Anyone else go Patton?
Yeah, I would too.
Keith?
Yeah, Patton.
Pat, okay, we're going to go straight in. Full back line, Roarty, McCall, and it's Sean Rafferty from me, I presume. That okay?
2 out of 3.
Oh, who's the change?
It's a hard one to call in terms of who the change, because Roarty is probably in line of club player of the year or young player of the year. He's been outstanding, and he'll be against young Thompson from Galway for that mantle. Rafferty, listen, it's a fair shout. The fact that you're giving it to Meath, there's nobody from Louth in that, and Louth are Leinster champions, and you've got only a handful of Galway fellas in it, so I'd be just pushing to say, why would you be giving it to Rafferty?
Yeah, I suppose the thinking of that is the provincial, and I suppose the importance of it maybe now. And in fairness to Rafferty, I haven't watched him, and I know when I kind of thought Rafferty would have picked up Murphy. Yeah. I've been at the game, but he ended up didn't. He didn't mark him, but I just thought throughout the year he was solid. And again, I suppose, yes, I know Louth won it, but Meads, I suppose progression through the All-Ireland Championship, is that greater than Louth's Leinster win? I'm not so sure. That's up for debate as well.
Well, we have a man on the panel that was marked by Rafferty for a while this year. How did you find him?
Yeah, only for a few minutes. He was actually gone off the pitch.
They brought him off, and then they realised, oh, actually, we should put him back on. And he kind of did.
And he scored about 1-3 or 1-4. You scored 2-3.
2-3 when he was off the pitch. So that's probably a sign that maybe he's
that could be enough for him to get an All-Star, yeah. Anyone else with another?
Peter Tighe from Tyrone, would he fit in there? I know he's wearing number 5, but he was going back man marking.
Well, you're more entitled to put him in there, right? That's just my team there now, so.
It's not a great team.
I was going to put you as manager, but no, that's gone.
Okay. I was going to get you in as a selector.
We'll go on to our half-back line, Brino Biogliac, Kieran Moore there, and McGeary from Tyrone. Anyone debate any of those?
Maybe Pather Morgan.
Okay, yeah.
I just think he mightn't be having a real standout here, but I just think he's very influential the way Donegal play. Like I know McGeary started off well the last year for Tyrone.
He's been good in all the games, though.
Yeah,
McGarry. He's Tyrone's best player for most of the year. It's hard to argue. O'Begley and Moore, they've been brilliant. O'Begley in particular have been outstanding. Moore has been showing flashes of unbelievable pace. McGeary, it's hard one to argue.
I suppose I was trying to even it out a wee bit with other teams, and if I had my way, I probably would have put 15 Donegal men on it, so you had to.
I think there's
you had to give a wee bit to the other teams. Do you know what I mean?
I think obviously this is pre-final. We're picking these. I think after the final,
it'll be totally different.
An almost whitewash of the two teams because they've been so consistent so long, and obviously Donegal will be going for 11 games, I think.
You could put in all of Donegal and the full back line, the back line there.
Complete.
They've been that impressive.
And now I don't think anyone can debate the two midfielders now.
No.
Langan from Donegal and Joe O'Connor from Kerry.
100%.
Yeah, no debate. Anyone in the audience have any problem with any of those so far? No, they're all nice and quiet. They're agreeing with you.
I think just in them, like Langan, it's probably like you've obviously played. Like he's the most complete. Like he's such a complete footballer for the size of him. Like his size, that goal he scored against was Monaghan. Like for a big man, and his field and his kick pass and his shooting. He just for a man so I suppose the height to take that into consideration. I just think all around he's just a complete footballer.
Yeah. Half forward line: Oisin Connaughty, Sean O'Shea, and Mr. O'Donnell there from Donegal. Shane, isn't it? Sorry, Shane.
Yeah, Shane. Go on, lads.
Eamon's not happy with Sean O'Shea. We'll put it out there.
I'm not happy with Connaughty or Sean O'Shea, to be honest. Connaughty has been very, very good, but is the Connaughty of last year that we're just surely is there somebody better than that? Sean O'Shea has played 2 good games. The reason why the Kerry team, our Kerry supporters, got on top of them was because one of the reasons Sean O'Shea hasn't been firing. But in fairness, the last 2 games he's been unbelievable, and if he's unbelievable tomorrow, he will get an All-Star. So I've mentioned Cian Darcy has been outstanding from Galway. I just think he may not have been on the scoring sheet, but when they needed to win a ball, he's been winning balls for you. So is it we picking fellas that are getting scores because Conte is definitely a bag full of scores?
Yeah, and there's numerous there. Even Kieran Thompson from Donegal, he's kicking. Like again, it's a tough one. It's a tough position. Like there's been plenty of good players. Even like if you go through Louth, even like the Sam Mulroy, there's boys there you could easily fit in there. But again, it'll be the debate.
It's way harder to pick it now because the new rules they've opened up the game so much, and players are actually getting to play it properly and show what they can do. So you could pick 6 different players there, and you'd probably be happy enough with them as well.
I think you're looking even there that McCarthy from Monaghan, who hasn't got a mention at all, and he was phenomenal for them all year, even throughout the league. And just because
any of the down lads get close to it. Some stars there.
Murdoch had a good year.
Murdoch had a very good year as well.
Yeah.
What's the big lad of full forward?
Pat Havern.
Yeah, he's good.
We'll move on to the last line here. You've picked Thompson from Galway, David Clifford and Michael Murphy. I think those two, anyways, 14 and 15, that's done. No one's going to argue that. Matthew Thompson, did you give him an all-star?
He's in the running for Young Player of the Year with Rorty. As I said, I would tip. Who's the man? Finnerty. Sorry,
Yeah.
couldn't think of it.
Assault Hillman in the corner, yeah.
Robert Finnerty in there ahead of Young Thompson, because Finnerty, I think up to the down game had scored 335, give or take, from play. So he's was outstanding. He's been always best player.
Okay, well that was amicable enough. We might get your player of the year at the very end if we have time as well. So we're going to move on to obviously the big game Sunday, but just before that, like preparations for an All-Ireland. I was in Croke Park last year at the Legends Tour, and it was Michael Murphy giving it. And I brought my son, goes around the whole dressing room. It was amazing to hear all these stories. But one of the things he said to us, McGuinness is so meticulous with his preparation. 2012, or whatever the first year McGuinness was in. Yeah, it was 2012. And like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the final, they were in training, and he literally had them walk around a fake band. He made them do a fake lineup, and someone came out pretending to be the president and shook their hands. He made Michael Murphy write his speech. A couple of weeks, I said, put that away now. You know, it's done. And if you ever do anything crazy like that in your careers before, big match or?
We did the same thing one year, yeah. We were up in Johnstown House for a weekend, and we were walking around the pitch with no one in the fucking place at all, like a crowd of idiots. But
did you have a fake band? No. Or?
No fake band. I think they had the music playing, actually.
Yeah.
I think someone had our 10 boys band music playing, like, and we were there walking around the pitch for 2 minutes before an AVB game, like, and standing around shaking each other's hands.
And the Kenny walking around.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think everyone's kind of gone through those. Look,
is it overthinking the psychology?
When you lose, it's a fucking disaster. Like, when you win, it's a masterclass in preparation.
I was going to say this, Damien, I'm sorry, before we move on to, like, is this something you've done anything like that?
Nothing, mate. Like, power could be particular enough in just getting stuff out of the way early and just to avoid distractions. But we never went to any of those. Then maybe we should have.
You know, for next year now what to do. But yeah, McGuinness is just a machine with this perfection. Like, but you're on about psychologists. We have two amazing psychologists here in Sligo, Caroline Curd and Cathal Sheridan, who was just involved with Tipperary. And everyone lauds them, and they're becoming celebrities now, rightfully so. It's amazing the track record they both have. Well, how about the psychologists on the losing team? Like, I see the pundit saying this, like, sure, what's wrong with, are they crap? So, like, you know what I mean? Have you ever had a psychologist come in and go, that was unbelievable? Because we, luckily enough, had McGuinness here in St. John's for a few weeks in 2010. Shut up, you. But the learnings of it, what he means is they were, we were 10 points up against you, you came back.
Yeah, you were 10 points. You were 10 points up, and we bet you in the replay.
Yeah, that was it. But what I'm saying is it was an absolute honour to see him in action for the few weeks, what he does mentally, and I take it ever since. Like, but anyone over the years was brought in, especially for some psychology that hit you. Well, that's really good.
It's as Keith said there. I think it's a masterclass if it's successful, and it's bullshit if it isn't. You know, you mentioned Cathal Sheridan. He's also involved with the Kerry team as well. So he's 2 All-Irelands back to back. So he's been busy obviously this week and last week. But and he was name checked obviously with Liam Cahill. But obviously you mentioned Caroline as well. So we're very, very lucky to have people of that ilk in our county. And we should be lauding them to the clouds. You know, to be quite honest. If they were from anywhere else, everyone else would be boasting about them. But yeah, we had a psychologist in. We had I don't want to mention his name because it's not fair, but we were going around holding a sailor's rope for keeping everybody together and keeping the whole thing tight, and we up running around the Curragh holding this fucking rope. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and if you were struggling, if you had fit lads at the front and the fucking fellas like myself that were old and struggling at the back, hanging on for dear life. But it was just, he made a statement. He had said that, I only hang around with winners, I associate with winners. And we had beaten Mayo and we had beaten Galway, and we got to the Connacht final, and then of course Roscommon ambushed us, and we were having a debrief over in the Radisson, and somebody says. I nearly said his name.
Can't edit it out either.
Where's our sports psychologist? And nowhere to be in because he only associates with winners.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and listen, it's there's a timing for these things. For me personally, it's all about when you bring them in, when you get talking to the lads. I think you know, nowadays, the likes of Caroline and Cahill, there are people that just chat you. You know, they offload, they empty what's up, you know, and they talk about life. They don't necessarily talk about sport. They talk about what's going on. Is there family issues at home? Have you an issue with your car? Do you need money for something, you know, in college? Or, you know, is your boss annoying you? Because it's all about, you know, dumping all that on the likes of those people, and then how you manage your day. It's how you actually sort of prepare yourself so you prepare well.
As a manager yourself now, do you do a lot of that with all your squad? Would you try and...
Yeah, you try and talk to everybody. Like, it's very, very hard. And, you know, we were just off, when we were on the break there, even, you know, Damien was on about PJ and, you know, keeping harmony among the group, and you're only able to pick 26. You know, I'm with a club team, so, you know, the panel is there, and it's important that, you know, there's a responsibility that you to your area, and you show everyone respect. You give them time, and you sort of tell them they're good and bad and their weaknesses, and you feed back. It's as simple as that. And if they are progressing, you reward it. If it's good enough, you reward it, and you get them on the team. And if it's not, you critique them as best you can in the most positive way for them to get better, and, you know, try and create that harmony.
And I'm just because we're talking about the All-Ireland final on Sunday, and I'm just going to ask obviously Damien and Keith, like, on that day of the final, what was there one part of the day you felt most nervous? Was it getting up? Was it walking around in front of the crowd? Was there something that hit you and you go, whoa, we need to bring myself back here?
Probably for me, it's when you're in the hotel, you're doing your last meetings before you're getting on the bus. I think that's probably, for me, would have been the most anxious moment. But then once you get on the bus and you're kind of enjoying the drive in past the crowds and stuff like that, it's different. But it's the same. Yeah, sometimes you can block it out, but in 22, I remember from even the Armagh game, you're going in, driving in past the Armagh supporters, it's the quarter-final, and you're getting the middle finger off every one of them. It's just, there's something nice about it.
Keith, for you?
It's funny, it was a story with the Dubs as well, and on the bus on the way in, and when you're down the south side, you're getting the wave. When you go to the north side, it turns a small bit, and it's a different gesture you get. But yeah, for me, it was always the warm-up. I just hated the warm-up.
Okay.
Just probably hate warm-ups anyways. Yeah. But like, I always just found once you got on the bus on the Saturday, I was fine, because you're into your bubble, you're into your routine. You know what time you're getting to the hotel, you know what time you're eating, you know what time you're going to bed at nearly. Everything's laid out for you. Yeah. You know what time you're going to the dressing room, going out. But it's when you get out onto that pitch, that 30 minutes of the warm-up, I just hated it. Once you get a chance then to walk around the band or the pitch, and you can kind of get your breath and have a look around and kind of relax, that was, for me, was when you could kind of get back into the zone. Yeah. So but even we mentioned kind of psychologists there, and going back, like, I always used to find the ones who used to put up a load of PowerPoints and was all generic. It was a waste of time, because you're talking to 30 different lads. Not everyone's going to buy into what one PowerPoint is going to say. You know, we had Kieran Shannon, who was actually very different from being a sports psychologist, dealt in facts, like, and he'd give you a load of facts. I don't know if they were actually facts or not. They could have been all lies, but we'd buy into them, you know. But Niamh Fitzpatrick spoke about that game in 17, where I had a bit of a breakdown against Damien there. Like, the weeks after that Galway game, like, she just sat down with me on a one-to-one level and went through everything as Eamonn said there. A lot of it's nothing to do with football. And she just kind of turned your whole mindset around, and she just kind of get you back in the frame of going, right, well, you're here to enjoy this, like. You know, so Anthony for me was kind of more individual rather than your generic stuff for 30 lads. Was always kind of what worked best.
I mean, I know it's famous, maybe, but like, was there days, like, especially the 2 own goals day, did you go, maybe this curse is real? Like, did you ever kind of go, Jesus Christ, there's something wrong here? Like,
well, to be honest, like, we probably didn't, because you're just, the people around you are kind of convincing you so much that, you know, that it was a bit of bad luck. We've another day out now the next day. We didn't play well, but we're so close. Yeah. We're going to do it, and blah blah blah. So you get into that bubble, and you're kind of convinced that there's no such thing as curses or anything like that, and you just kind of hope that it's going to turn around the next day. So, look, we didn't buy into it. Whether some lads they're not, I can't answer them. But again, like I said, you're just kind of convinced, and people around you are doing so well to convince you that it's not a curse.
Yeah.
Can I just come in there, Brendan, quick? Just because obviously I've never experienced it, I'm always intrigued. But like, see, you're on about the day you travel up, but see the days leading up to that day when you're at home. Like, I'm just chatting boys there in the dressing room, on about tickets. Everyone's on about tickets now, and then we're thinking, what do the players do? Like, is it the case your phones are off on Tuesday? Like, the days you're not training, are you lying low? Are you walking around? Were you meeting people on the street? Like, how do you actually deal with that whole hype and attention around it? Grand when you're in the bubble, it's great being away from it on the Saturday, but let's say the day Thursday, Friday leading up to it. Is it
this a question for me?
No. You'll deal with it all right. You'd have the full kit on you walking up the street.
Yeah, full kit wanker.
But no, Keith, just for yourself even, I'd just be intrigued for these days how Donegal lads going to bed tonight, maybe trained. I don't know, it's their last session tonight before they meet Saturday, dealing with them days actually when they're not together, I suppose.
Yeah, and again, everyone's different. Like I know, we'll say Boiler probably took the week off from work altogether, deleted any kind of social media apps on the phone, probably stayed in the house for the whole week, bar training and going to the gym. I worked right up until probably Friday afternoon, just because I needed to be in the whole routine. Now, I mightn't do much at work, I probably don't do much anyways, but I would have been in the office out the back, but like I just still went through my whole routine, going to work, coming home from work, doing whatever I had to do in the gym, and that was it until Friday afternoon. So I just found if I change my routine, if I lock myself at home, I start thinking about the match too much.
Okay, yeah.
You know, but everyone's different, like.
Yeah, well, obviously when you're a teacher and you're off for the summer, like going to training, you pass on whatever tickets to your brother, Jay would sort all that. But yeah, just stay in your circle of the bubble. So meet whoever it is you need to meet for coffee, or go to their house and play a couple of games of FIFA or whatever it is you're at. But trying to keep some sort of routine. Get up early, go to the gym, and do your bits or whatever. But yeah, it can be a lonely enough week as well.
I can imagine,
because you're trying to stay away from people. You don't want to get asked questions. You can feel nearly the tension in your house as well. Your family are nervous for you and blah blah. So yeah, it's a funny one. But you just keep the head down. It's probably would have been my way. But like you said, everyone is different.
You got to be lucky with the group of friends you have around you. Like you would have gone up to the boys' house, you know, like that, playing PlayStation, whatever. But they'd have known not to talk about the game.
Yeah, I know.
So if you have a decent group around you, you're fine, you know.
Obviously, the game ahead, there's two different contrasting styles. So everyone's wondering, will one of them change? Like, did you ever, in any of the teams here, 2 weeks before the game, go, let's do something completely different? I assume neither of the teams on Sunday are going to do something completely different. Was it ever, Anthony, would you keep to your own plot or plan, or would you actually adapt?
It's funny, even just you notice some managers, and it's even a club and county, obviously myself and Eamonn do more analysis and we're looking at it, but you found if there's a longer break between games, you've got, as a manager, you've got time to think, and you start feeling the need that you need to adjust something or to tweak something here or to make it elaborate on something else or introduce something new, and it can fall it can fail very, very quickly if you do. So, as I said, my motto is always, what has got you there, you enhance it and you improve it and you make it even better and you refine it to the best you can. So really, with the 2 weeks, obviously with the game coming ahead, I don't see absolutely anything changing. Maybe the only thing it might be that they might bomb in one long ball into Clifford early or into Murphy early doors. There's a potential of that. Whether Jim decides that he's going to keep the ball as long as possible in longer periods of time, just to starve the likes of Clifford and these ones of possession. Maybe something along those lines. Whether it'll be a shootout, which we all hope it will be, I think it would be great if it was, but I don't think it will be.
Okay, so it could get tense. Keith, obviously you played in multiple finals. Was there ever time last minute there was any kind of tweaks?
Yeah, I think the famous one with Robbie and David Clark, all right. Again, at the time when we were in it, you can see the logic to why the manager was doing it, so we weren't going to question it really.
When was the decision made? Straight after the semi-final?
I don't think it was after the drawn game.
The drawn game.
I don't think it was straight after the drawn game. I think it was probably in the week afterwards. We were probably looking at kickouts, and like we had done well on probably short kick out in the drawn game, and Robbie just probably had that bit better of accuracy, maybe options of going to his left and going to his right, whereas Clark was very much this side. Obviously that one backfired, but like there's other days then you look at it and go, maybe you could have tried something different, like maybe we shouldn't have just gone all guns blazing some days and maybe a bit more defensive. But again, you're going to back your manager so much, and what, like as Dame said there, what worked for us got us there and got us close. So we threw in Aidan full back in the semi-final in 17 as well against Kerry, which probably no one saw coming. Maybe we should have done something similar back in 2006 when Donny was in full forward, So there's always ifs and buts when you lose, but as we said before, when you win, no one's going to question anything.
And now for a bit of devilment, like if I'm trying to say Kerry will win this and why, could you query that have Donegal been actually tested recently? Like Tyrone beat them, Mayo ran them close, and then they just played Louth, Monaghan, Meath. If you're just being a devil's advocate going, maybe they haven't had a good test in a while.
I wouldn't have a clue in terms of what you'd probably have a fair idea. Like, does it really matter come down to All-Ireland final of what you've played previously before? I know obviously tight games and scenarios, but like they've all been through the mill over like Donegal, or was there 11 game?
Yeah.
no matter, they've been tried and tested, whether it's the last semi-final or the quarter-final or Ulster Championship, so they've been there. Obviously Kerry's run-in has been that bit tougher, but when it comes down to the day, does a lot of that go out the window in terms of performance, or is that going to stand to either our team, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's enough of character building during the year. Like, you've so many games now, like we've gone through the ringer. Sometimes you'd nearly prefer if you had a little bit of an easier game where you can actually, try a little bit more. Like, they got Murphy off the last day. Maybe it was a good thing for them. Like the Monaghan game, you can't say they weren't. I know they coasted in the second half, but they were well tested in the first half. They were under serious pressure, only for a mixture of Monaghan, Wilton probably, and Donegal really pushing on the second half. But like the Tyrone game, fair enough. But still, yeah, I don't think it has a huge bearing on the game. If you can only play what's in front of you, I'd rather be getting over the line by 6 points where you're playing really well than just scraping by, probably not playing overly well. That'd be my take on it.
Go on. For me, it's when Galway got to the last All Ireland final, or your first All Ireland final. I think there was talk around the experience. Like, how much experience has this Donegal team got in an All Ireland final? You know what I mean? They got to a semi-final last year, but All Ireland final day is all about that experience. When you look at the Kerry team, they've got lots of fellas that have been there before. So I think the experience is not being talked about. It's more about the game, and the style of football is being talked about. So will the likes of Rorty be able to deal with that going around? As you're a cornerback, he'll have a job to do. Obviously, Jim will obviously work on that. So the experience of the day will test some of these lads. I was lucky enough, obviously, to be working on the Ulster final against Armagh that went extra time, and I looked at Donegal and I thought they were out of on their feet. Like Murphy, McBrearty had been taken off, Gallen had been taken off, Murphy was waving to be taken off, and Jim was going crazy on the sideline and going into extra time, and it was one of those ones where I says, I think they were overcooked, but obviously he's managed it really, really well since, and you have to give him huge credit that they've found a real freshness about them, real pile of energy. But the question is, will Donegal win an All-Ireland final with Murphy on the bench? Because he's been taken off the last two, and I know that's preservation, but would he be as well off seeing has he got that 70-75 minutes in him? So that's maybe a question that I would be, well, remains to be seen more so than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if it was most other teams, I'd say totally agree with it. I just think with Donegal, like, system, and it's just McGuinness. Like, you can say what you want about him as his tactical, it's his man management and the way he gets the best out of a team, and he gets them so structured all the time. Like, they never go away from their structure, where some teams will be structured for 40-50 minutes, then they'll get tired and they'll eventually kind of drift away from it. These boys don't drift away from it, and that's the one thing. However he manages, however he does it, he just gets them to buy into what he's looking to do, and that's the reason I give them a huge chance. I might have a doubt about Murphy. I just think when he was taken off the last day, I was actually up and I was watching him, the movement he made. He did look like he tweaked something. Yeah. It was only 2 weeks ago. He went off straight away after it. McGuinness was asked in the interview. He said, "No, Michael's fine." If he'd have said, he might have just felt.
Physio went straight over to him as well.
I just might have a small doubt about how fit he is, and I think they are very reliant on him. He mightn't necessarily be the best player on the pitch, but he just has that presence. It's hard to kind of put into words, but he just, like, even the first ball or the first play of the game against Meath, he came out from full forward, a full sprint, took it on the turn and kicked it over the bar. Like, he's just kind of nearly laying down a marker and leading from the front. So you can't buy or you can't coach that type of stuff.
And if I'm trying to say why Donegal will win, could I have the devil's argument of going...
We didn't say why Kerry would win there, did we?
No, but I've said, would we say that Donegal should win because Kerry have only played about 15-20 minutes of a good game all year, and that was against Armagh. And was that because Rafferty started, going wrong with a few kickouts?
Yeah, and again, I suppose we're closer to the Donegal border, this side of things up here, especially self-aim and a lot of crowd here, and you kind of maybe pushes you towards that, speak more positively. But again, Kerry, it's no secret of the quality they have, and I suppose the brains of footballers to have at how to play football. And go back to our Armagh game, the confidence any of them forwards can score. There's question marks over them, and I don't know, is this like since 2019 they've been in, is there fourth or fifth All-Ireland? The fourth All-Ireland since 2019. Jack O'Connor's 8 All-Ireland. So the experience is there. There's no question about that. And as Eamonn alluded to, there is a lot more inexperienced players in that Donegal team. But then on that side of it, you look at like Rorty there, Mogan, the younger generation are totally different nowadays. They don't care about anything, like, and that could be a massive positive for Donegal, that they just embrace it and say, "Do you know what? There's nothing to lose here." But there's no question that they're not going to win with that attitude, because I know I've heard Jim speak during the week that it can be the best day of the year or best day of your lives, or it can be the worst day of your lives, and he's going to ram that home to them. But like, it's such a hard game to call, and obviously getting that primary possession to David Clifford is going to be huge, and like the Shawnee O'Shea around him, and then the bench like the Killian Spillane, different lads coming in, but. It has the makings, but you could fight both sides for both teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many positives. But Donegal beat them, yeah.
Hey, there you go. I have a big problem with this push-up and the kick-out thing. Now, obviously, I don't play at any high level at all, but we've talked about this on the podcast. Like, so the push-up and the kick-out, I know it's a tactic, but then why doesn't the goalie go, right, I can't do a short, why not ping it straight down the middle, way off, and say, lads, you win it. At least we have our men back, and at least we might still win it. And the biggest one, has a manager ever told you, we're going to stick with the risky kick out of the sideline? Why is this happening? How many keepers this season have done it? And they're all well enough to put it out the middle. Do you see value in that tactic of pushing out? Or is there a simple response in just simple kick out down the middle?
Just for me, in terms of how I look at football now, it's where do you get primary possession from? And it's from the kickouts. And excuse me. You're going to have teams that are going to have up on 40, 45, maybe 50 entries into a half, the opposition half. They're probably going to get away 30, 38 kickouts or shots at goal. So that means you're averaging about 38, 40 kickouts from one side, and the same on the opposite side. So it's a lot of kickouts. So it's a lot of opportunity for the opposing team to press up high, force it long, and try and sort of scramble on the breaking ball. If you've got a goalkeeper that can go short and long, I think you've got an unbelievable wand of an opportunity to sort of retain possession. Every possession you get now has to result in a shot. That's the go-to thing. Or alternatively, what Donegal are going to aim for is those turnovers. Like, they're going to really, really try and get Kerry on their counter-attack, obviously swarm back as much as they can, turn somebody over and just test the legs of these fellas. And don't be surprised that if Kerry do turn it over, you'll have the likes of Clifford chasing back where you don't want him to be, but because of the footballer he is, the type of driven type of guy he is, and just where he finds himself on the pitch, he'll be probably 7 or 8 men inside him filling the full forward line. If that turnover happens, it's lights out. So really, it's about forcing that goalkeeper to go along as best you can. That's why we're pressing.
You're the manager, so your keeper puts 2 arseways over the sideline. Are you roaring at him going down the middle now? So
it's the next one. That's all you can focus on. You know what I mean? Somebody, a lot of the time when one of the 2 of those goes long, the next time he's looking out, all he sees is numbers, because nobody is facing him, nobody's presenting in front of him. So it's having that mental fortitude as a player and as a manager to make sure, right, we have a safe option there. We need to make sure that we get one off and we retain possession.
As Eamonn was saying though, you're going to have so many kickouts, there's going to be turnovers, and that's part of the new game. So it's just, how can you limit them that they're not going to cause you that much damage? Like the last day I was up at the Meath Donegal game, I thought Meath had a pretty good press on Patton in the first half. They cut out a couple of his little bullet pingers. And they got a bit of a grip on him, but in the second half they got sucker punched. Patton kicked a kick out from Hill 16 and it landed inside the new arc. He went that long, so like, I know from dealing with Keane O'Neill, he'll put on a good press. He'll put a press in their kick out, but he'll also be making sure that there's covering behind for the long one. So if you go down the middle, the problem is going down the middle, you don't have the options of cover coming from both sides. Okay. Whereas if you go a little bit left, the opposite side can drop in, and Donegal do it really well.
Yeah, that's why I asked. I was just intrigued. Like, there must be some thinking to it. Like,
yeah, but that's the big question for Kerry now. Like, and they got such joy out of it against Armagh, going with that 4-4-4 press that they do. Like, you do that against Patton, and as the boy said, he puts 180 yards down the middle. And what Kerry are very good at doing is just getting that flick on into space, or what Donegal are very good at doing. Sorry, and they've done that for a long time. So do Kerry kind of commit and be brave on that, or do they just go, right, well, we'll just let Patton go short and let them work from there? I don't know. I don't think it'd probably be a mixture of both, I suppose.
Can Donegal stop David Clifford? Like, I read somewhere, I think it's right, the last day was the first time he's ever scored a goal in a semi-final or a final, and this year his worst day out was 5 points. Like, I seen Tyrone, we were talking about it, like, sometimes a bit naive defendant, not that I can vouch on it, but like, I'm just saying Donegal must be much more of a bigger animal from a defensive point of view. Speed, athleticism. Yeah,
and listen, I think of every podcast or review we've heard, everybody is kind of the same opinion. Like, you have to give whoever's probably a presumed McCall will be marking him. You'll be giving him that. he can get us 1-5 or 1-6 or you know what I mean. But after that, I think that's where he has to be restricted. But I can't imagine McGuinness just going in with a plan and saying, "No, we'll give him whatever." Like we understand. We've seen over the years the strategic thinking. He'll go into this. Like there's no way he's just going to leave McCall 1-on-1 inside with Clifford and just let ball be pumped into him. There has to be some and athleticism around him, whether it's Rorty or Moore covering. They have the legs, but someone's going to have to sacrifice a part of their game. Because if you can restrict the likes of Clifford to 8 or 9 points, that means the likes of O'Shea has to probably chip in with 5 or 6. They need to hit that 20-22 mark minimum, or even 24. You know what I think? And I just think throughout the whole Donegal team, that potentially could just create that more opportunities. But again, we'll just have to wait and see.
It's also sort of looking at source. Like obviously Paddy is the lifeline for David a lot of the time, and obviously Sean O'Shea is hitting form, but it's you look at the guys who are feeding. The likes of O'Connor is one of those guys that feeds him. The likes of White will always come in on a burst, and the first man that's coming in a backdoor loop behind him is Clifford. Now the one thing I think there'll be goals to be got if Donegal are coming in on that +1 or as you said, sacrificing, because Clifford has a canny ability to pop that little ball over the top to a free man, but Kerry have to commit to it. If Clifford gets it, he has to have options around him, and if they don't, they'll get snuffed out, and Clifford will come away with nothing. So I think Donegal, you wouldn't be surprised that Donegal could concede goals quite simply just because of the commitment and the drive to sort of snuff out the likes of Clifford.
One name each. Who's a dark horse for you that could light up the final that we're not thinking of?
I'll go first. I just think that man there, Shane O'Donnell, I think a lot of people, I'm not saying, well, he's been very good throughout the year, but his ball carrying, he adds so much to it. And watch him against me, like he's the playmaker as well. He runs the arc perfectly. He looks for Murphy coming on the point man, give and go, and he's well able to kick a score himself. But I just think that when you go through likes of Gallen, likes of Murphy there or Thompson, he just might be able to drift into that game unknowingly as such. But now obviously he's in all-star contention, and they all are. But I just think
he's maybe not the first name talked about.
Yeah, just possibly. And his name, say Conor O'Donnell. He's kicked huge this year. Like I think he's the second scorer, top scorer for Donegal with no frees. He's 330 or something score from play. He again a name that a lot of people don't even know of. But it could be a day for one of those lads instead of Murphy or Gallen or Langan as such.
Keith, anyone come to mind? You could be a hero next week now if you get this right.
We can't pick the big players like Murphy, Clifford. He's named everybody else there. Fairness O'Donnell, he has been very good. Like even more there, whether
could
he
be
plays.
A sub. Killian Spillane. Dylan Gainey if he doesn't start.
Jesus, I don't know. I'll let him answer.
Yeah,
he's checking the stats here now.
I'm actually looking at the team here to see actually who was. I think Young Moore is probably one of those young fellas. I think when he was needed against Mayo, wasn't it? Yeah. He's the type of fella that can just come up and do something really, really spectacular, and he's just got legs on him. He's got a real engine on him. There's something special about him, I have to say. I think he could be somebody like him, could do really, really well. Or Wigley on the other side. I think, Wigley or White, the both have had huge influence on Kerry this year. They're the type of, I won't say big names, but names that could do well.
Like even like some Mark McHugh, who we haven't mentioned at all. And again, he's probably not far off All-Star contention as well. Like the way he plays it, he's just so loose. Like it's very difficult for anyone to pick him up. So do Kerry put someone on him? Do they leave somebody else? If he's given space, he'll play very, very well. So again, they're just, in fairness to they're two quality teams. That's why they're there.
Damien, what do you think?
I think Langan will have a massive game the next day. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they pair up with Joe O'Connor, like two guys that love going forward.
That's going to be some battle.
If they pick each other up, they probably won't. I'd say because they're too alike. But Langan, I'd say he's going to have a monster game the next day.
Be interesting in midfield because even likes of Hugh McFadden, he plays such a pivotal role for Donegal. He mightn't get on a huge amount of ball. He's not going to go forward, kick points, but he'll just drop in front of Clifford the next day. What he's been doing all year, he's very, very effective. The last day in the second half when Meade went long in the kickouts, I'd say he broke every single one of them. He's so effective in there without actually standing out, if you know what I mean. So, will he be the one sitting in front of McCall? There's just so many questions.
Caelan McGonigal as well. He came on the last day. He's been their solid number 6 for major parts of it. So you just wouldn't be surprised again. But as you said, it's McFadden there. His game was, in the last system with the rules, he's probably lost a wee bit, but now he's there. And as you said, that midfield battle of breaking ball, getting dirty ball, they're the boys you're going to want on Sunday afternoon.
In the 2014 final, if I have it right, there's so many dates going on in my head this week, but Kerry beat Donegal in that final. and Colin McFadden could have just flicked the ball in the goal to win the game. And Jim McGuinness said in his book afterwards, he said, at that moment, he said, I wished not to go in, because it wouldn't have been a pure win. He said we would have been cheating nearly. Do you think he'll accept a dirty ball in the goal this Sunday?
Oh, it doesn't matter to me if they were pure or not at this stage.
I call bullshit on that.
In fairness, I asked Jack O'Connor that in an interview. They said that to him. They read that piece out to him, and he just said it doesn't matter. He goes, how you get over the line.
Yeah, but it's a mad insight into.
But it's just that's his mindset,
he
isn't it? It's just
he wasn't afraid to back it up,
Yeah, that's just the mindset of him. But as you said, you'd.
Okay, so last couple of questions each then before we head off.
Not fair asking Keith that now.
So again, just very quickly, we'll run through the panel. Who's going to win, and what will be the one what reason they'll win?
I think Donegal will win it. Again, just about, but I think they'll contain it for as long as they can. But I just again, when I seen the Meath game, when that game opens up, possibly in the latter stages, I just think the fitness levels, their energy from running, likes of Moore, likes of Mogan, likes of Rorty. I just think when that game opens up, if they're still in that game and keeping it tight, I just think they're going to have the legs and the energy, and with likes of O'Whale, McBurty coming in there to finish it off, I can just see them. I can see Donegal edging it out.
Okay. Keith, who you go for?
Head would say the exact same thing as that, but just see something in Kerry since the Meath game that there's just that bit of like they look like they're on a bit of a mission at the moment. Like Clifford's animated, O'Shea's animated when they get scores. It's just it's like they're using that whole criticism after the Meath game nearly remind you like 2006, 2009. That it just seems to be driving them on. So for that reason, just to girlfriends from Donegal, that's why I'm going to go for Kerry.
Safe, yeah. And obviously Jack O'Connor, every time he wins the league, he wins the All Ireland. So he's done the first half of that this year. Who for you, Eamonn? I
have flip flop between both of them. I thought Kerry earlier on in the week for a variety of reasons, and then obviously I've come around into to Donegal. I just think very similar to Emlyn. I think I've sort of convinced myself that their bench is a little bit better, but then when you start looking at the likes of Breen coming in for Kerry and he's popping points and he's on a mission as well, there is something about Kerry. It's very, very similar. When we played them, I think it was 09 when we nearly had them beat, and then Antrim nearly turned them, or Longford nearly turned them over. They're just, when they get into that frame of mind and when they get that chip on the shoulder and all the stuff that goes on, they just become a different animal, and they rely on that kind of experience. So right now, today, I'm saying Donegal, but I could change it by tomorrow evening or Saturday morning.
A few gasps in the crowd there. There's someone filming it as evidence as well. Yeah.
One word, Damien.
The draw.
7-1, I think.
Yeah,
well, the odds are that close. Like, yeah.
I've been Kerry at the start of the week, and probably Donegal back to Kerry, nearly back to Donegal. So I'd say if I was putting a score in it in the morning, I'd probably back the draw.
Should have set the draw.
Yeah, that's the most safest bet there to say. And last question before we go, and don't forget everyone, you'll see the link online there for our I Donate fundraiser, which we're doing this all for. So again, if you're watching this even after this live show, we'd love you to donate what you can and share the page, Stroll for Sean. You can check us out on social media. Who's player of the year, lads? I know we've one game to go, but who's going to be player of the year? You can obviously just up to now. Who would you give it to? They're all looking at the All Stars page.
Up to now?
Yeah.
Clifford.
Everyone Clifford?
Yeah, Clifford, yeah.
Easy win, so okay. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Give a massive. Emlyn wants to say something. Sorry.
Just before we go. Before we go, I'm just going to hand this over to you. So, this is just a donation here from Maeve's Bar.
Wow.
So
Maeve's and Waxy's Bar, which is here, which for anyone watching that hasn't been in Sligo in a while. Open it. Hold on.
I'll hold your mic.
Yes.
I'll hold the check if you want.
Feels like a heavy check, though. 1,000 euro donation to the I Donate campaign for Sean, which is unbelievable. For anyone, it's from Maeve's Bar, which is Maeve's Bar, the Garavogue across the road. Brian and the team here and Joey, all the team have been really good to us. And this bar we're in now is called Waxy's Bar, and there's An Thon, the far side. And just for anyone that hasn't been in Sligo in a while, just to let you know, it's what was Fiddler's Creek. So when you come to Sligo, come in here. They've done a beautiful job, and thank you so much. That's absolutely amazing generosity altogether. A couple of thank yous. Huge thanks to Eamon Cunningham and Tom Clark on the back from EJ's Menswear. They helped us putting the podcast along, and it just helps when you have them helping you promote it and put it on their thing. Because me and Emlyn have been doing this for a few weeks on the Edge podcast. Obviously, keep us a follow as well. We'll hopefully be back. But a little story this week. Eamon donated some All Ireland tickets between a hurling ticket last week and 2 football finals this week. and someone, a friend of Sean's, had bid on an auction $2,500, and then someone else came in from Donegal with $3,000, and then the first guy, named Brian Harris, it's on social media, fair play to Brian, he said, keep the money. So there's $5,500, and I think it was $1,000 for the hurling ticket. So there's $6,500 just because of what EJ's been doing the last week. And here tonight with Waxies and Maves, and obviously whatever we gather in the bucket, whatever we donate online, keep supporting the campaign for our good friend down here, Sean. He's been here watching the whole time. By the way, we spoke about the best managers. Now, I never played at the lads level now, but this man managed us, God, how many years? 10 years ago now? We won multiple. He's definitely the most successful manager in Sligo at the whole junior level, won multiple leagues, multiple championships, but he was the man that got everyone together. He's such a loved guy, and this is why the whole campaign is getting so much traction because of him. So please give a round of applause for Mr. Sean Brown down here. And finally, before I forget, we have been streaming this live, which doesn't normally, that would be a huge, huge cost. Brian McDermott from Pixel Productions and Mark Kennedy from MK Communications, and that's new company, is that right? MK Entertainment. Go and check them out. You'll catch Mark Egan around here as well. Himself and Brian, Wedding Band's going to be all the plugs he can. Yeah. But these guys have given their time and all the wiring and technology to make this happen tonight. So a massive round of applause to the two lads. And Aileen McGovern, amazing from MacG Marketing. If you need any help with your marketing, she's the lady to do it for events, marketing. So thanks, she's helped us all night with the setup. And a shout to the Glass House as well, who helped feed a few of us earlier on. And that. So listen, huge, huge thanks. All these guys came for free of their own time. They volunteered to come down for this amazing cause. It's been a wonderful night. Honestly, for me, it's been an honour to have a chat with such stars and to do what this is, well, being all night. So give a round of applause. Damien Comer, Eamonn O'Hara, Keith Higgins, and Emily Mulligan. All right, I think that's it for now. Again, enjoy the night, and thanks to everyone here at the bar for helping out. There is a bucket at the bar if you want to donate, and again, all the links are online. Good night, God bless, thank you.